good evening, good night, good morning, wherever you are in the world. Thank you for showing up. They are arguing about if they can put in paint evidence, the thing that got struck down in the third trial. So now they want someone to testify that she had used this paint before, and therefore she can testify about it changing colors as it gets older.
Oh my God.
Whatever it has to do with the murder, I don't know because she wasn't drowned in paint.
That's so dumb.
Yeah, but thank you, not thank you, welcome is the word I try to use when I don't speak stupid, to viewers at Shizzy Visnot's channel. And welcome.
Oh yeah, hey all those on shizzies.
You can do
Yeah,
your intro.
go to his channel and make sure you have it up in the background too.
Talk about yourself.
I'm there. Well, tell you about myself. I stream random BS. That's about the best description right there. Just random BS. It could be anything from 3D printing to following a trial. And like tonight, I'll be talking about a possible cult. That's always an interesting find. Tonight will be the Kashi Aram. I'm actually setting up the thumbnail for it to get it set up, but that should be going on tonight at 9. And sometimes I have a co-host that likes to show up whenever she can because she does have a life outside of the YouTubes. So she may show up tonight. We'll see. If she does, she knows that she's always allowed to post it on hers also. So I may be co-streaming that tonight. So we'll see.
And you know him, you love him. Some of you do. Most of us does. The man who drank a sweet under the table. It's kind of like Usain Bolt running in the Special Olympics, but still, he's proud
That's
of
going
it.
on my tombstone that I drank a Swede under the table. That's what I'm going to be known for going forward.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody, live from, where am I? Margaritaville, north of Houston. That's where I'm at. Instead of sitting out in the water and enjoying the heat, I'm here with all of you for at least a little bit. Thanks, Baker, for including me. This is a weird case. It's a very weird case.
I know. And
Yeah.
we definitely wanted your advice on some things.
One of the things I really like to and I know you can't not testify. You can't explain it, but why do they allow so many cases in the same, so many trials in the same case? When you have two hung juries, it should be enough.
Yeah, so the general rule is especially when there's a hung jury and it's not like the case is mistrial because of some sort of bad action or bad evidence or something, that the state can rebring the charges. If the mistrial is due to a improper thing done by the state, then they forego any further option to retry. So in theory, most states, I can't speak to this particular state. I don't even know what state this is. Oh, this is Massachusetts.
Massachusetts.
Right? Yeah. So might be similar to Michigan, where essentially you can just retry cases. And, if the mistrial is not due to some sort of prosecutorial misconduct. And it seems kind of dumb. I feel like there should be a limit, but each state is different.
Yeah.
It should be three strikes and you're out. I agree.
And now they're sitting here arguing if you can bring in paint. Paint has nothing to do with the murder. She was strangled. And I know you've been in and out because...
but I understand the reason why. Because the defendant was found with paint on her. And if the paint was dry as opposed to being wet, that would then indicate some sort of time difference, right? Because they're trying to say that she took the paint and covered the victim with paint and herself with paint in an attempt to make it look like an accidental fall kind of thing, even though she was strangled, right? But supposedly the victim or the defendant doesn't know that this was a strangulation, only believes that it was an accidental fall. So therefore, the paint being fresher or being older or whatever would lean into the defendant's story about what happened or what she thinks happened. And so if the state's trying to say that the defendant is using the paint to contrive a story, then whether or not the paint is wet or dry is relevant to some degree. Even though she was strangled, it goes to show her criminal intent, because she could have very well been the person who strangled this person, her wife, if she took steps to cover it up, right? That's a logical conclusion. So if the state can say she took active steps to cover up the crime, therefore she must be the guilty party, that's relevant. But from what I understand, that whole line of evidence, the whole paint drying expert and all that stuff was thrown out by the court while they're trying to bring it in now, because it worked. They got a conviction on it. And they're going to push the line as much as they can.
Yeah, but you would also think, I mean, as far as the defense goes, that they would be able to come back and say, hey, if she was this makes no sense for her trying to cover it up because she's an EMT. How much is she going to be able to cover up with paint?
Right, but why make the argument? Why allow the state to come in? I would be hammering to keep this out. Now,
Absolutely.
if the court allows it in again, which I doubt, I would really hope this court wouldn't, since it was literally overturned on that very issue, then you would argue that. But you would hope that the state's going to keep it, or the court's going to keep it.
About the only paint drying expert that they could have come in is the actual manufacturer, and I doubt they would want to waste their time coming in for something like this. Just because I paint a house does not make me an expert on paint.
Yeah.
So Mads is saying it defies basic logic. You cannot bring in an expert, but you can make random officers testify to the paint drying thing. So the difference between a lay witness saying the paint was wet and an expert saying this particular paint takes so long to dry, therefore it was wet on this. The expert, because they're an expert, tends to have more credibility with the jury, as opposed to a layperson who says, yeah, the paint was wet.
Yeah, but
so
still,
that's why
it's prejudicial to say it was. They are not allowed to say it was poured or fresh, because you can't have any knowledge about that. You can say it's wet, and then you can argue, well, paint can stay wet for a long time. It's not like it's a thin layer when we paint our walls, and that's the what they're arguing now, that you can't determine any range of time, because there's the manufacturers can say that it changes colors in 4 hours.
Do we know the brand name of the paint?
Oh, there was a picture of it, I thought.
I foresee a Shizzy stream where he's playing games and literally watching a pool of this paint dry. Let's time it out.
I could probably do that, because it took almost 2 weeks to dry out a paint can, because that's the way you can dispose of them here. It took 2 weeks to dry out a paint can, and whenever I poured it into another can, there was still liquid up underneath all of the skin that was about yay thick. And that was
Get you some watch hours. Like, let's watch the paint dry.
Well,
2 weeks to watch paint dry. That would be awesome.
Was it wet in the can, or they're just saying that it was wet, like poured over the body, right?
Poured over the body was.
Yeah, so you got to get a mannequin, and then you got to train a camera on it, and then you got to dump the paint, and then just let it go.
At some point you have to pick up the mannequin and have it in your lap.
Yeah, and then you got to put your body heat against it, and then move it around.
Will blow up doll work?
Yes, please do a blow up towel. That'd be so much better.
Right?
Yeah. Salbert, send him one of yours. But again, in the opening statements, they used it to say she tried to cover up the crime scene, but she's sitting with the dead body. There's no argument about how she died. She had some head trauma, but she was strangled. Then they said, well, she threw away some rags that she had used to clean up some blood. Well, she also had a 2-year-old in a car, and she could have been changing diapers. I'm not sure they have. We haven't seen the diapers yet, so we don't know that they were filled with blood and she dumped them at McDonald's. We just know she threw some rags away.
This is why I never want to find a body.
I know.
And if my wife dies or a family member, I don't want to find it. Nope. Well, the first person they're going to go to is, well, you found the body. You must have known she was dead.
Well,
I wouldn't have known she was dead if I didn't find the body.
Oh, no. They'll still charge you.
Oh,
yeah. You go tell the jury that. We'll see what the jury says.
And again, and they are starting with. It's 13 years in the making, and they're still sending them redactions the day before, or on the day they're going to trial. It's
Dave, have you heard these witnesses?
Oh, with the Boston accent?
No. I just mean like how they all just. I don't remember that. I don't remember that. Oh yeah, that report. Oh, I don't remember that report. Even though.
No, I haven't heard it that much.
Oh my God.
It's been every
And
witness.
I
As soon as
understand
defense
that.
asks them a
It's a real question
question, it's
whether,
just,
um,
it's like
doctors
constant. I don't remember writing that. I don't remember what that was about. I don't know anything about that. I don't
condition of
remember that. I
whatever,
don't remember. I don't remember.
Well, I understand
All-
that paint would dry differently on a human, but we're talking about a dead human. At that point, they're just an inanimate object. So
Well,
Yeah, but they
is
were
it
warm
different?
at one point. Was it before they were warm? Was it after they were warm?
while
Well,
while they were
according to the
doing-
defense, it was concurrent with their death.
Yeah.
No. We haven't heard
But
that.
they haven't proven that, have they?
Oh no, that was
We
just
haven't
her
heard
first
any-
story. That's right.
That was
Or
just
she
her
didn't know.
first story, Baker. It was, remember, she did it and then poured paint over it to make it look like
Yeah, that's
30 to
not the
45
defense, that's
minutes
the
later,
prosecution.
she poured paint over it to make it look, you know,
By the
and
way,
then called the police. And then called the police.
I picked up one of these. I'm gonna get some of these with MLSN on them. These are actually really nice.
Those are some
These
Yetis,
tumblers.
aren't they?
Those
Yeah,
are
I
things
told
are the bomb. You should get some.
And I
Yeah,
have
probably-
like an order form.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
I
yeah.
would like 6,000 of these.
I'm gonna need a. I'm gonna call Anna, that Star Wars girl, how you make calendars.
I just have
Because,
to say, according to the
with all
motion
my
I have,
drawings,
it's page
I'm
12.
gonna make 1 billion on calendars.
A Baker calendar with all of your drawings. That's gonna be. I'd buy that.
This
But
case
can you make it U.S. style? Because Sunday is the first day of the week, sir. I don't know what you guys are all doing in Europe.
January, February,
Right, this is
March,
transcript page 10 through 11.
April, May,
Oh, good. I love it.
Yes,
June.
okay.
oh, July. The cabinet gnomes.
I missed the cabinet gnome.
Buddy.
Sometimes I think I should go talk to a doctor about my mental problems. But again, if I can make $1 million off my calendar, then it's okay.
Everyone's got to hit that like button. Only 17 likes.
Oops. My bad.
Yep.
Jamie,
Hi.
Murph,
it's no worse than Andrew being on with Steve, being like, "Oh, everyone needs to subscribe," and pulled up his page, and he's like, "And I will subscribe now."
Murph, we don't know anything about this basement because no one has testified to the state of the basement. It could be a basement with a furnace and a water heater. They could get pretty hot and humid.
I have a dehumidifier in my basement.
Is it a
so-
finished basement?
Yeah, with the cement floor, like, yeah. finished.
Well, that's not finished.
That's not
Well,
finished.
I guess, yeah, but
Jamie's like, "Yeah, it's finished. It's built." What do you mean?
Bill,
finished?
what do you want?
So it has a cement floor. Does it have carpeting? Has anybody testified to this? I mean, you know, all of
The
these things can
photographs make it
change.
look like it's fairly not built out.
Of course.
I'm missing the ninja spider. I have to see if I can find it somewhere.
It's in the Discord. Bill.
Ninja spider.
Hey, the experts in the chat. Calendar, yeah. Baker's gonna do a calendar.
Yeah, I
He's gotta
might
do it
need
U.S.
someone.
style.
I
Yes.
might need someone to hold my drawings naked, maybe. So we're gonna make a photo shoot.
Yeah. Expert photo shoot.
All these different YouTubers holding like a strategically placed photo of Baker.
Paragraph 3.
No, I'm just the expert. Because,
Oh, just the
he'll bring in
expert,
all the
okay.
money.
Just the expert.
And everyone.
So that's it. Sure.
Even Ballstorm says yes, a calendar.
So let's
Expert.
address the March 30th.
I didn't cover the Randolph case, so I couldn't do that. It's when I get bored in
awesome.
trials or get angry.
Damn it! See, now I'm jealous. I don't have a good thing for calendars. That's an awesome idea.
I told him, yeah, that, or I just wanted
I
like
did-
a
I'm sorry, this is the one
set
that
of like coffee cups. Oh my
Transfer page
god, I
1
love a Baker.
on my motion.
Pitcher
So
coffee
it's-
cups.
it's
I need to get
all I
my
have is
freaking new
a cover
logo
sheet.
stuff together so I can get my merch going.
Numbering
I've got a
starts
good
page
calendar
2
idea for you. MLS, all the trials that you've covered over the past year.
I could do that.
Oh, okay.
That would be a cool way to honor, do like a 1 year anniversary,
Mhm.
because I started really streaming this in late February, early March. So
Right.
I can come out with that.
I think you could do it. Just show your progress over the year for the next year.
Melissa, if there's no photograph, it doesn't count. Please DM proof of said bikini.
Melissa in a bikini. Yeah. I could use a few of those.
I don't have a
man.
Oh, you want me to
for
put them in a
camera.
calendar? Oh, I'm sorry.
But Mass, the problem is that would kind of like doing their job, and this police department really doesn't seem to be fond of doing their job, or remembering what they did when they did their job, or testifying about what they did when they did.
Even though they've
Yeah.
testified, what, 3 times to this? Come on.
So since the experts in chat, I got to say, I don't know how to feel about these things.
Half the back is gone. You have to feel
Whose
something.
beaver did
No,
they
no,
get it
no.
from?
This is my wife. No, my wife
Yeah,
loves
yeah.
these things. She went to town on them. She's not a huge fan of Bucky. She's like, well, I don't know what the big deal is. But she loved these things, for sure.
It looked fun, I will say. I mean, for never being in a place like that, I'd go in there and be like, "Oh, this is cool." But it would
So
be like,
let me say this, though.
Now I get the one. The case you're talking about is the one where my spirit animal wasn't allowed to testify. I don't know if you've followed me long enough to know this guy, Shizzy, but this is the guy who made my channel become 1,000% better.
While I'm waiting for this, did you, whether it's true or not, believe that Mr. Randolph had slept with your wife?
I wouldn't care.
You wouldn't have cared?
No,
Did you believe he had slept with your wife?
no,
Did you believe he slept with your mother-in-law?
probably did. Everybody has.
So there.
Everybody has.
The judge is like, the hell did you just?
That's awesome.
I love
That
Glenn.
is so classic. I love that.
That this guy wasn't allowed to testify it could have made me hit the 1,000 people mark.
Yes,
because-
that was awesome. What I was going to say about Buc-ee's is that in Sweden, most of the gas stations are like that. Most of them have those bathrooms that are like that. Most of them have all these shops and different things like that. And so I feel like it was underwhelming for her because she's like, yeah, this is just like at home. I don't understand the big deal. She doesn't understand the phenomenon that most gas stations are not like Buc-ee's.
Hey, Yamaha.
Come on.
I mean, it had a lot of stuff in it, like a lot of
So
more
more
than
line
I've seen.
17.
That was very cool.
Line 18 is a.
I have to call Glenn and just have a picture of him. He's the coolest guy. I want to drink with him. They were allegedly they were drinking at a bar, and this guy said, "Well, can you kill my wife?" No.
As one does.
Yeah,
one does.
and it wasn't because he didn't want to kill the wife. He was just afraid he was going to get killed when he did it.
It's like strangers
yeah.
on a train.
He thought the guy was going to kill him after he killed his wife for him. Well, at least he wasn't wrong.
I mean, you're not supposed to ask that in a bar.
So we have 3 pieces of these.
It's so random.
Subsets of these redactions that we would want to keep in. So
Why
their
can't they
first
fix this without?
requested redaction? The first 2 are on March 29th.
They were supposed to
and
do this on Friday.
Their first requested redaction, we would.
Have they been arguing about this all day?
want to keep in.
No, we
No,
have
just-
2 witnesses.
I was going to say, I thought I heard some witnesses earlier.
Starting at line
Yeah,
11,
we had the first witness who
and
was a
it's very
dispatcher
expensive case.
who got a drop call, called back, heard some screaming, finally got in contact with Cara, who said my wife,
Line
more,
8 all the way through the
my
end
daughter
of the
dropped the
line.
phone on her head and dialed
His job
911
was-
by
federal job
accident.
was taken away
It was her
because he
who was
you know,
screaming.
And
And then we had
submit that
an
this
officer who
statement is
took a
relevant
phone call
to
while
our
the
vote.
dispatcher had a pee break,
In a nutshell,
where Cara
it is
seemed very
Rintala's
upset because
observation
her
about
wife
Ann
was
Rintala's
threatening her with
irresponsible spending
taking
habits
her daughter
and
away.
her,
Nothing
history
again
of
about when they were killing her, and still
getting,
on Lawn and Crim,
material goods
72%
in
says guilty.
suspicious
And I asked,
ways. And the basic idea is she owed
What-
money to lots of different people.
Oh.
Not, she didn't,
I'm gonna start trolling Law and Crim.
Those issues should
Yeah.
have been investigated by the police. And so that's consistent with our Bowden defense, that the police failed to investigate.
have fun, the expert,
The
mowing
next
the lawn.
section would be in the Commonwealth's second requested redaction.
Our
So
gas
I would
stations
move to
get smaller and smaller.
Page 32,
Yours too?
line
Yeah,
7,
because
detective.
on the highway,
Did some
you have
come
some
for money. I'm
some
not sure it's
big one with a
anything
restaurant
technical,
and
but did some
a
come
kiosk
for
and
money?
stuff like that.
And
But
then,
in
all
towns,
the way down to line
it's
23.
more or less going down to
And,
just the pumps,
and
and then you pay at the pump.
gist of it, again, this is consistent.
They don't
with
sell-
the last,
They sell
section we wanna
cigarettes,
keep in. It
a
again
hot dog,
raises this question of,
some Coke or coffee.
Anne Marie Rintala's family.
It's
and
really
the
small.
fact that she had a history of spending money that she didn't have, and it's relevant to a Bowden defense. And then the last
They want to bring in that she
section that we would within
used
their
all their
requested
monies.
redactions is it's now we're on to March 30th.
Oh
Their
yeah,
redaction,
we heard them
redaction
yell at each other
section.
because they
What
filed
I'm focusing
filed
on
dual,
is
dueling
page
TPOs.
7 of that March
And
30th.
in that courtroom, Cara sounded really upset, and
Transcript.
the other one was just, yeah, okay, yeah.
Line 23.
I'm pretty sure I know who was
Let's
the
go back to what you were saying,
man lady in that relationship.
and then
I'm dropping a link to your channel in Ellen Seward's chat.
No, don't do that because LNC will
So
see me and gonna strike me.
I do it
Please
for
don't.
mine all the time.
defense
Like, this is a BS prosecution. You guys should come over to MLS and check
is
it out.
admitting that the
I
grand
would like
police
real
department
coverage.
had no experience with homicide investigations, and in particular, the investigators apologizing for the fact
Copenhagen,
that Barbara Fenn had Miss
they are the
Rintala walking
smallest
naked
ever.
down the hallway in front of a bunch of other local police officers, and basically saying that never would have happened if I'd been in charge. So that's important to our defense about the lack of experience
Irish,
the Grand
Irish,
Police
Irish.
Department has with specifically with homicide investigations. And then the final section, one
Well,
more section, page 10.
My friend used to work
line 4.
for a company
Mr.
who
Rintala,
who
you
did
have any tissue?
make Bake Off,
I'm
and
sorry. Down to line 17.
they're,
I
as we
know
call
they
in the
have
real
do their
part of
thing,
Denmark,
but you know
Københavnerbirk
what?
is
Why can't I go see my wife?
won
Um,
handily over most bakeries.
We think that's all very important because it demonstrates Mr. Rintala's innocent state
Yeah,
of mind.
You're
That
right.
she
Hey,
is
Nick.
experiencing the trauma of having lost her
Københavnerbirk.
wife and is basically begging to see her wife. And we submit that that is consciousness of innocence and crucial, effectively a denial that it's emotionally important for the jury to see. and
No,
understand.
don't mind that. That's my son entering the room very loudly.
Okay, well,
Are you staying at the
so what I'm
Econo
hearing
Lodge?
is that
I'm staying at
evidence is
Margaritaville.
relevant primarily for your
It's just
Bowden
that the door
defense.
hasn't been oiled in a long time.
I'm not so sure about the
Nobody's picking up my
consciousness
chats.
of
Yeah,
innocence,
that's a different category.
When you're wrong, Ness. But I like you.
but either way, I'm not ruling that you can't pursue those using this evidence. But right now, the question is whether the Commonwealth has to keep all of this in. In other words, that they're limited in what they can redact based on the doctrine of completeness. And so I haven't heard why any of the proposed redactions are necessary to qualify or explain some other portion of the statement that's being admitted. So
Are they trying to backdoor this by saying the law of completeness?
way that they have
Yes.
indicated. But I have not
I hate the fucking state.
ruled on whether you can
Sorry, we're only
ask
like a few minutes in.
Whitney questions about
I feel
what
the
she
same way.
said that would go to her
They've been
state of
so
mind
shitty.
in terms of the investigation. I would need to see something more about the consciousness of innocence argument.
She's just as bold as
that
we
you've
are.
made. But again, it doesn't mean that even under the doctrine of
Is her nose a little big
completeness, it
for her
really,
face?
I think, envision that
I feel like her
Yes,
nose is regular size, but her face is small.
produces that
She's the opposite of Nicholas.
on their own, and then argues that it should be.
We hear that
combined.
Nick's in the
So
chat.
now I'm going to allow.
Yeah, he was here before.
Oh, hey,
hey ATS.
Yeah.
Make actions that
Totally agree.
it has indicated it
I'm
wishes
gonna
to
sabotage.
make,
I never
along with those
sabotage. I enhance other streams.
parties.
Understood, Your Honor.
That's the best way to get rid of
And I will note your objection.
the competition. Is just go on and be real
Okay,
friendly, and
so
then
it is
get them
2:42.
copyright struck.
That's exactly right.
I still, I suppose, have to rule on the voluntariness of the statement. I have had a chance to look at it. I'll hear arguments on that, but perhaps we can. I think right now that the more pressing point was to decide what the videotape.
Hey,
if it's
Bama
admitted,
Rose.
should look like.
Oh,
in terms
Bama
of
Rose.
reactions.
Oh,
I don't know you.
Shizzy's.
Yeah.
Shizzy's.
Bama
I
Rose
haven't
is
seen that name
nice.
before.
Have
She's
someone
awesome.
Start that process.
Make sure you come over and
It's ready
sub
for
over
tomorrow,
here
I
to the
think,
Broken
plan
Baker
is.
and
That's
Jamie
really
and
up to
MLS
you,
also.
but I think that's the plan. So
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
perhaps we can take whether the statement
Yeah, really
itself is
gotta get those
voluntary,
subscription numbers up. I
instructions,
might have to do a topless stream.
you'd like me to give either
I'll join you for that
during
one.
end of today or very beginning of tomorrow.
I've done it
Point
before.
prior to-
It'll be right around here with my camera.
Your Honor has indicated that you prefer things in writing.
I'll just have to get some pasties for my nipples.
That will be fun.
Then I can finally figure out what a pasty is, because I covered a trial
You
in
call them
Denmark.
Band-Aids, Baker.
Okay, and
It's
I don't
said
think there's any.
breast band-aids.
I don't think you're going to say.
Pretty much.
So-
There were some loss in translation there.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'm not normally
So
going
can
around
we
fondling
Bring the jury back in.
20-year-old girls
I'm sorry. Before we do that.
boobage. So I don't know what they put on nowadays. Back in my day, they might have a bra on, and then we had to fight with that for 30
I
minutes.
think I need to instruct this jury. On
Wait, were they
references
pasties or were they like
proceedings
stick-in-place
and times,
bras?
Prior trials.
Probably what it was like a
understand
stick.
Unless you're about
No,
to
I
tell
think
me
it was
there's some agreement,
coverage,
my understanding.
because she had a
is no
small
agreement as to how I should
top on.
phrase that, so I
Then
don't-
it was
Ah.
Can you
probably
have some
Like
kind
It
of
was
a
probably a
reason?
pasty. Well, I would say it could be a pasty if it was a see-through
Various
shirt.
times
She
during
wanted
this
to
trial,
hide the
you have
nerps.
heard and will likely continue to hear references to
Your
prior
nerps.
testimony or proceedings. You may consider the substance of any prior testimony.
She
that
was
you've
out
considered this
out
trial,
partying.
but you may
It
not
was,
speculate
to
about,
celebrate
discuss,
the end of the
consider, or
Rona
otherwise
lockdowns.
draw any conclusions
So
from the fact that there were
yeah,
prior
that ended in a bad way.
proceedings related
Oh,
to
in
this case,
231
at which
bad
testimony was
ways.
taken.
So that wasn't fun. But every day I had to talk about pasties, and I didn't know what it was.
I remember watching those streams. That was a while ago, trying to explain what they were. That was before you were doing live stuff, I think, right?
Yeah, it was just before I started.
Perhaps the rest of us could approach time.
Lefty.
Yeah,
Okay, is that
that's
okay?
why we invented the 4-hour boner with Viagra. So, true story.
I figured out what pasties were long before I was ever in a strip club. Just because I worked in a head shop for a while.
They
when it-
so. I thought you were trying to keep going.
No, not that kind of head shop. No,
I
it was-
wanna
it
hear
was a
more.
place that they sold water pipes, which they call them different things. They sold toys and outfits, and also had snakes, and like there was a 6-foot boa constrictor that he had named Monty, that was a pervert that liked to wrap around large breasts and unbuckle the tops of them, stuff like that.
Going to these
but-
big runs, they have racks of them.
Yeah.
Like on display.
So yeah,
This is weird.
So I found out what pasties were because all the strippers would come in there to get new ones. Some of them had like tassels and things like that. Just whatever happened to be out, edible undies, whatever. So
I don't get the part where they have to cover in Denmark. You can go full nude. I don't get why I have to cover the nips.
Because there's a lot of ladies that like to wear the shirts that are somewhat see-through.
No, in a strip club.
Oh,
I know why. I know why you do it in a
some
white
strip clubs. It's illegal to show nipples.
In Michigan, you can serve alcohol or you can be fully nude.
Yeah, it's either or.
Either or. Well, that's fully nude though. The bottom, you can still be topless and serve alcohol in Michigan.
Yeah.
But some states and some even counties, I think, regulate it a little differently. By the way, I had a bicycle stolen off the back of my Jeep years ago at a strip club out in the middle of the woods, like podunk hillbilly strip club. That's my last strip club story, because then I stopped going to them because they're kind of gross.
Well, here's the thing: no alcohol if you see full nude, but there is exceptions to that in the state of Georgia. Something about food or
if you serve food along with it, that's why they all have buffets.
So you can get away with things like that.
But some states you can't go. You can have live shows, right?
Live shows?
Yeah, live shows. They're live on stage. What do you mean?
Yeah, but not
They're not
just
dead
one.
with paint on.
Not a dance, a solo dance, the champagne.
Yeah, well, it's a horizontal mambo for some people.
Well, that's supposed to be illegal everywhere, but
you can. I never really been a guy to go to sex conventions, but you can have stage shows where you see that. Back in the day, we had a cool guy called Moses Hansen. He walked around with a big cross because he was a former drug dealer who found Jesus. So he was always standing outside of these when we had the porn conventions. And then
you should give the cross back to the man instead of taking it from him. He found Jesus and then took his cross. Nice. Go from drug dealer to thief.
Well, and he all the strippers always went out to take pictures for promotion things. Back in the day when I was a wee pup and went to Copenhagen and have a drink once or twice, you can get a naughty tap beer. You paid 50 extra, and she didn't use her hands to pour the beer.
this defense attorney, I love her. She makes the best arguments. Her look is horrendously cringy, but I don't feel like there would be another look that would be appropriate for her.
Oh, yeah. I love it all.
Like, I don't...
Amazing.
I don't want to be friends with her, but she's really good at her job.
Yes,
Does that make sense?
She reminds me of a cartoon character that they stick their head inside the bag with the explosion.
But the way she talks, like when she started giving her opening statement, I was like, ooh, I immediately didn't like this woman, but she's doing a good job. And I feel like you don't need to be friends with your defense counsel, but you need a good defense counsel. This is a good defense counsel.
I'm just surprised no one said anything about me having tap beer poured with a lady's lower part. I'm disappointed in you guys.
I missed that part. There must have been something
to say to that. With lady parts pouring tap beer.
I didn't get the lady parts part.
You know the handle they pull.
This trial,
yeah.
as you lose belief in my ability to estimate time.
Oh, really?
I do want to give you one instruction.
That was a
naughty
tap
to our next witness.
What was that handle shaped like?
As follows. At various times during this trial, you have heard and will likely continue to hear references to prior testimony or
6 inches.
You may consider the substance of any prior testimony that is introduced in this trial, but you may not speculate about, discuss, consider, or otherwise draw any conclusions from the fact that there were prior court proceedings related to this case at which testimony was taken.
I wonder how many of these jury members know about this.
It was an extra 10.
Is Andy Kaufman appearing? Did I hear Andy Kaufman?
No.
They had a hard
Did he
time
get up and play Mighty Mouse?
It was just a normal beer. I only did it once to try it, and I didn't drink the beer because let's say she was in the midday shift.
Oh.
The truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help you God.
Everything at a strip club is dirty and gross and is going to give you a disease. That's why I don't
This
go.
wasn't a strip club. This was just a bar in a street with a lot of strip clubs and live show clubs
I feel like that's kind of
and
worse.
porn
Afternoon.
movie
Can you
theaters.
switch your Sharon to make sure you're close enough to the mic so we all can hear
Testing.
you? You don't have to be right on it. Could you please state your name for the jurors and
Well,
spell
I
your
told you,
last
why
name
is
for them?
everybody 90
Nancy
now? Like,
Marie
Jesus.
Kaufman, Kaufman,
Ms. Kaufman, how old are you?
90 and female.
63,
And where do you currently live?
Don't get it.
Tampa, Florida,
She said
How
she's
long
only
have you lived in
63.
Florida?
Okay.
29 years.
And do you know a person by the name of Anna Marie Rintala?
Yes, I do.
And what relationship was she to you?
My niece.
And how far apart were you and Anna Marie in age?
I wanted to 12 years.
Okay,
I believe I was 12 when she was born.
okay. Where, I know you live in Florida now. Where did you grow up?
Springfield, Massachusetts.
All through your life?
Until I was 34. I
Okay.
moved to Florida.
And moved to Florida at that time?
Yes.
Okay. Who's in your family in terms of your immediate family?
My children, I have two sons. I have a 35-year-old and a 29-year-old.
Okay. And do they live in Florida or elsewhere?
They live in Florida.
No, she does.
You indicated that you're Anna Marie's aunt, correct?
Yes.
It's so
And
bad.
can you describe the relationship that you had when she was growing up?
Like I previously said, I was 12 years old when she was born, and we had a very big home. We lived in the front.
Oh my
of the
God, how
home.
old
My
is the
sister and
defendant?
My brother-in-law lived in the back, and it had
She's in her
taken my
40s
sister
now, I
several
think.
years to have a child. Make a long story short,
This
she
woman's had a
Ian,
rough life then?
and I became sort of like a second mom.
I mean, she
We were
kinda
just
looks like
very close, sister's mom, whatever I did, she did, and we basically grew up together. You know, I was a 12-year-old, but a girl with 7 brothers, so I wasn't allowed out very much. So I stayed in, and we became friends, and then we talked, and it was someone I trusted growing up as a teenager, and we just were very close.
Okay. And I failed to ask you exactly how you were related as
Exactly,
an aunt.
Lefty.
Your sister Lucy,
My sister Lucy,
and
Yes.
is Lucy Anna Marie's mother.
yes,
Okay. And at the time that you were growing up and you had this close relationship with Anna Marie, did you live in close proximity to one another in Massachusetts?
I did. They had lived
She's
in the back of
57
the
years
home,
old.
and we lived in the front of
She's
the
only
home.
57.
I believe
No.
I was maybe
She's
20
22.
when I moved out of the house.
It's a rough life.
So I was from
That's great.
12 to 20. I lived with
She's
her.
like lived in the
house there,
mines.
We lived in the front of the home,
If it-
and she lived in the
No,
back.
not this one. She's 70
So we-
something. You asked her how old the defendant was.
Oh, the
Oh, okay.
Or
How
57?
would you describe your relationship?
Anne Marie
with her?
Rintala, the
We
deceased,
never
was born
actually changed from
in
growing
72.
up. When we grew up,
So
up.
this lady
close,
was born in
like I
60.
previously said, it was like a
She said-
sister bond.
He's like 12 years older than her.
we
So
spoke
Yes.
daily
So she's
for many years.
40.
It never changed through the adulthood. Actually became stronger because I
What?
had children. She
She's in
was
63.
son's godmother. We just tight. Even when I moved, we were in constant
I
contact.
get it to 63.
daily.
63 is the age. The
several
other one
times
was
a week, whether
the
it be
defendant.
through text
The guy who
messages
takes
or
care of my
through the
horse is
phone or
83 and he looks
several
twice
times
as
a
young as
year,
she does.
Everybody would come visit me, which was beautiful.
Rough life.
Let me stop you there. You
Sorry.
indicated,
Well,
it's okay. You indicated.
why
that
is
you
she up
spoke
here
to Anna
rambling
Marie
on
over
about?
the
What is
phone
she gonna tell
via
us?
call and
Chip,
also
chop, chip.
text message with her?
Either or vice versa.
Jamie, chip, chop, chop.
He would call her if
Well,
I
come
didn't
on.
She's
get to
gonna-
the phone.
She's going to say
maybe
that
a text back or a
she
phone
was
call.
really
But
afraid
one
she
way
was going to
and
kill
there
her.
would be a day, certainly
Yeah.
would miss the text or the phone calls and, carry on the next day. But we were always in pretty close contact.
And when she was an adult, did you have the opportunity to also see her in person on visits?
Yes.
Did you come to Massachusetts or did she come to Florida or both?
Both.
Okay. How often would you estimate in her adult life you would see her in person?
When I moved to Florida, how often did
Who
I
thinks
see
Jamie
her?
would be an awesome teacher?
She
Me?
would, when I
Yeah.
first moved
Chop,
to
chop.
Florida, she came
Just like
and
your
she
steak.
had stayed
Done.
several
Let's go.
weeks with me. She was gonna go to nursing school at the time, we're talking many years ago, and then she came down, stood another several weeks with me, got a scuba diving license, did several other things, and I don't
Totally related
recall
to the
how
murder.
it ended up, where she ended up at
Right.
AMR or was with AMR, I don't know. So through the years, either I would come visit my sister. There was a time I came and I stayed with Cara and Ian in Brianna with my ex-husband and my two sons. But they came several times a year. My niece
Who
would come to Florida
cares?
to visit me, or I would come to visit either my sister or any
Yeah,
Does
other
she
don't
know
couple.
the
judge a
defendant
book
at all?
by
I
its
was
cover.
always,
This, I mean,
when I
this
first
late.
moved once a year, I would
One
come
one of
back.
my
So
good
I was
friends
always,
growing
or
up,
she would
his
come see me.
grandmother
So there was never more
was
than a
a
year
high school
where I didn't
teacher
see her
whenever
visiting
she retired.
with me.
But
At
before
some
that,
point in
she
Anne
was
Marie's adult
she was
life,
part of
did
a
you come to
biker
know
gang.
that she was in a relationship
Like she
with
was
Cara Rintala?
she had
And
tattoos
did you
that
have an occasion
all
to
over the
meet
place. If
Cara
you showed up to her
whenever
place, she
she was
didn't
in a
know who you
relationship
were.
with Anna Marie?
You were met
Did
met with
that
a
happen
shotgun
in
and a
Massachusetts
44.
whenever you would come up to visit?
Yes.
She'd have that
And would they
44
also come
strapped
to visit you in Florida?
and that
Do
shotgun
you
ready
know
to go.
approximately how many times Anna Marie and Cara came to visit you in Florida
Oh my
together?
God.
I'm gonna say, I don't want to
She looked
say
a
it
lot
an
like this
exact
lady,
amount
except
because
with black
I
hair.
don't want to say something that's not so, but I can recall at least 2 times. One time I had gone to Orlando. They had come down with Bree, and I went to Orlando and met them. And then there was a storm, so I decided to stay on. And I stood on for the storm, and then I came home. And then on my 50th birthday, they came back to visit me.
Okay.
So I want to
What?
say 2 times in the course of those years.
And did you come to know when they had the opportunity to adopt Brianna?
Yes,
Okay. And did you interact and get to see Brianna on these occasions whenever
Yes.
you were together?
oh, they always had Bree with her.
Okay.
When they had Bree together, they would take Bree with them.
Okay. I want to ask you specifically about your 50th birthday and that time frame. You
Nick.
indicated that Anna Marie and Cara came to visit you at that time.
Yes,
And when would that have been? When was your 50th birthday?
February 27th.
Of what year?
That was 2010.
Okay. Do you know, did they visit you on that actual date of your
63?
birthday or around that time, if you know what dates they came?
It was pretty darn close to it, and because were going on a cruise, and they had visited me before the cruise for a couple of days. Then I believe it was on my birthday. We had gone out to dinner, the whole family, and then we came back home. And then maybe a day or two later, I can't recall. I don't know, don't recall. And then they came back after a little bit of a cruise. Then they came back to the house, and that was during the 50th birthday in 2010.
Okay, in late February or early March of 2010?
Absolutely, it was definitely the end of my birthday.
How can she be
So that
63?
It was only 28 days, I believe, that year.
My mom
And on
passed
this
away
trip,
at
was it
69 and she looked 10
Cara,
years younger than this one.
Anna Marie and Brianna all together?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I think you
Sorry, I
indicated
wasn't
that
paying enough attention. You said your mother passed away from a 69?
they came to visit you
From-
first.
No,
At
she
60.
And then
she
you
got
said after
lung
that,
tissue
they came
cancer.
back to
That's
visit you for a
kind of
few
different.
Oh, okay. She passed away at 69. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just
At
But
that
it's
time,
still
do you
it's
remember who
it
else
sucks
was
just as a
living in your
69.
household with you?
Yes.
That was my
Sorry.
2 sons
Sorry to
and my
hear that.
husband, my ex-husband.
Okay.
Well,
And were they also part
It's
of
been a long
spending
time since.
with Cara, Anna Marie, and Brianna?
Yes.
You know what's better than 69?
I want to focus you
88.
first on the initial days when they got to
Okay,
Florida.
I'll go with that.
Before they went on the
You know why?
Why?
Nope.
I
'Cause you
assume
get
they were
8
staying
twice.
with you at your house during this period of time?
Yes.
Okay. Can you
Jamie
describe
looked up for that one.
My
their interaction with each other during that time frame before they went on that?
Yes.
And what observations did you make, just in terms of generally how they would act around one another?
I didn't put very much together, only because it was the first evening coming in, and I think it was 10:30 in the evening. They came in very late that night. And I sensed friction, but I'm
Oh,
figuring
she's a
it was
mind
along
reader.
whatever they had to do, and they came to the
She's
house.
Dr. G.
At the time, we only had 3-bedroom.
Dave, did you drive or did you fly to Sweden?
Oh, I definitely drove to Sweden. Yes, put a lot of miles on the
After
car.
after what has been, 12, 13 hours of travel, did you and your wife smile and say, "Oh, let's be really friendly to each other, and everything is just hunky dory, and let's talk to the family," or did you go to bed?
Can I tell you, both of us hate flying with a passion. We went to bed.
Yeah, and people who might have thought, "Oh, they're coming here at 2 in the afternoon. They really want to be with us," and you might have been a bit like there was some friction because you might say, "Well, no, we really want to go to bed. See you in the morning." It's if they're arriving at 10:30. I don't know if they drove down or if they flew down and with a baby.
It doesn't matter if they drove or if they flew. Travel, especially with a child, it's exhausting. Now, you can do a travel where like the drive is the trip, like a road trip, like my wife and I did out to Butte, Montana. The drive itself was part of the trip, and that's fine. But if you're like, we're going to whatever, Texas, and then we're flying back and driving back or whatever, and the travel is the pain in the ass that takes you to get to your trip, and you're just done. By the way, I'm getting in at 5 a.m. Thursday morning, and I get to go straight to work.
Yeah,
Ask me if I'm going to be friendly in court.
And there will be no friction. It's just so stupid that. But again, as we mentioned in the earlier stream, it's the Andrew Branca story about prosecution. Whatever you do, it's wrong.
Yeah, no, it is. Yeah, whatever you do is wrong.
If they came down there and let's have a whiskey talk for an hour, that seems strange because they've been driving all day and they were really upbeat. I was afraid they were doing drugs. You can't win.
Right. Yeah, if you came home from a trip and you were abnormally upbeat, that means you're hiding something. But if you're like don't want to spend time with anybody and you're aggravated, that means that you're angry and want to murder somebody.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's no. You can word it any way you want to whenever you're a prosecutor to fit the narrative of what you want it to be. I mean,
with all due respect,
no different than that detective earlier, where he was going off saying, well, because she was acting this way, it must be. That,
with all due respect, us as attorneys, we do that regularly. Yeah. What you see, and that's why it's important for attorneys to think what the other side's going to say. Like I got a video right now that is not. If I'm looking at it objectively, both parties sound like assholes. But how can I use this video to my advantage? Well, I can say this, this, and this. The other side is going to say that, that, and that. And it's just what we do.
Yeah. I know my wife tries it on me all the time.
But still, it's the 12 people in the box who's going to listen to it. And
sure.
And I know they want to paint a really negative picture, but everybody has been traveling and have been a bit, because at some point after the first 5 hours of driving, your wife is saying, you should have turned right the last time. And you're going to turn around and say, you said next time. Yeah, but that was before the last time. No, you said it after we passed. And then you're calling your divorce lawyers. And the next day when you slept, everything is good again. Because you just get annoyed sitting crapped in a car. I know from when I back when I was in the military, we started out every when we had to go on field exercises. We started all really happy and really looking forward to it because now we got out of our house and away from our wives. And within 2 days sleeping in a cramped car with no heat and living off rations, you could kill a guy. Because all his jokes was just shitty. You cried laughing the first day, and now you're such an annoying prick. Please
you're
shut up.
Just crying.
Yeah.
Yes.
But again, everything is wrong.
Home, I had taken my younger son out of his room, and I had given that room to Bree, Cara, and Ann. And I just let him be. I figured they're tired. It was a long day, but it was just, Ian, she's like, I didn't talk to anybody. I had everyone go to bed, but I'm an old lady, so I just said something was not kosher. So I didn't say anything, and I let everyone
Can we
go
get
to
clumsy
bed
on?
the following morning.
She could probably tell just as accurate what happened in that house by doing tarot.
And that's
That's
how
Yeah.
my very first interaction that evening.
And going to the next days, in other words, in the days before they went into the cruise in your house, without getting into any content of conversations, how did you generally observe them being around or communicating with one another?
One would be in one room and another one would be in another room. It wasn't as though they were together. Bree would be, Brianna, lover. There wasn't very much communication with two people that are supposedly going on a cruise and you're with your baby and having a good time. It was tense.
No, it was a GD,
Sorry.
What's the
German
what's the
Jeep,
basis?
but not the fancy one they get in Hollywood.
This witness's opinion about what she's observing, Judge. She can talk about what she observes, but I don't know that she can talk about an opinion about what she sees.
Geländewagen.
It's not relevant.
What'd you just say?
Geländewagen. That's a
Stan,
Jeep
if you
in
could just
German.
ask a question, a different question.
Sure.
Again, she can testify to what she's observing, and I will allow a certain amount of, again, shorthand to describe those observations.
Sure. Just focusing on what you observed, what you heard, and what
The
you
murder
I don't
happened
mean
13 years ago.
communications, But in terms of what you saw of one another, I think you indicated that they were.
Yeah, they still haven't got their
They were separated.
their trash
One was
together
in the
to
room, one would
to
be in the
No.
kitchen,
Victor.
one would be in
Which is
that
crazy to me.
bedroom, who would go out, and so they weren't together.
So
That's
this
what I
lady was
heard.
23 at the time.
Now, at some point, did they go to the cruise?
Yes.
In leave your presence, right?
Yes, they
You
did.
didn't get to go on the cruise. Okay. And they came back after that
Who
period
would
of
want
time?
to go on a cruise?
And also with Brianna still, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And do you remember making some observations of them, again, generally speaking, how they were around or not around each other when they came back from the cruise?
Yes.
What do you remember?
Friction, anger, tense. If you just want me to use a word, I don't want to say my opinion, so I'm trying to use the word what I saw.
But it's
the right words.
that's
Ang-
that's an
Yeah,
opinion
that
saying
was
what you
Oh.
observed.
I'm going to ask you about a couple of specific moments in these days after the cruise. Do you remember at some point you making a suggestion that the two of them go to the beach?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you remember?
Can you use a
having
word for that?
conversation
Hot,
with
steamy,
Ann
sweaty,
and Cara about that topic?
I do.
And
lotioned
can you
up.
describe what that conversation was, please.
We were in my kitchen, and my kitchen had my laundry room was attached to it, and my niece and I were standing by the, at the time, telephone, and Cara had came out, and I had offered to watch Brianna because of the tension. I had offered.
Yes, Your Honor.
Right.
Attention.
Like,
Overruled.
come on.
I had offered to watch Brianna so that they could go. I offered them to go to the beach for the day.
Oh my God.
And at
Is
that
the
point,
beach thing?
Cara was in the kitchen, came storming into the kitchen. I had asked Cara, would you like to go to the beach? I will watch Brianna while you guys get out for a couple hours. Her instantly looked at me and says, do you think this wants to go to the beach with that? She took her sneakers, put them on, and I had a very big door, and she stormed out the door, and my niece just broke down and started to cry.
What the
It-
actual F is happening right now?
Chat.
This
love you all.
doesn't want to go to the beach with that. That is what we have this woman on the stand for?
Yeah. Chat. I have like 78% females watching my channel. If your significant other, male or female, had said those words, who was the most likely to end up covered in paint, unalived in a basement?
I would say the one that said it.
The one calling you fat or you?
But I mean, I guess that could
Just
imply,
saying.
yeah.
I said that to my wife. I'm like, you can watch paint dry on me.
Who hasn't said that? I mean, somebody's had to have said that sort of stuff when you're
I feel like this marriage was long over before any of this happened. Just on that statement alone.
Yeah.
Not with all the
And-
other like sugar daddies and all that.
Oh yeah.
And again, go watch the picture. There was quite some difference in size on these two ladies. But again, men. I know I only have like 22% male audience. Have you ever been in a relationship where you might have blown a gasket and she, for the 10,000th time, ask you, "Could I wear this dress? I look chubby in it," and you said, "Yeah, honey, you look kind
But
of chubby in that. You should have another dress," because it's the 10,000th time she asked you, and you have said, "No, you look pretty." Or have you ever had a girlfriend when she broke up with you and you got on and she started talking about he's just so bad in bed? It's kind of like people say mean things when they're mad at each other. We don't know if they kissed and make up the next day.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And she may have not even been talking about her weight. She could have been talking about whatever bathing she was wearing.
For me, it's usually I'm commenting about their personality, which they find just as offensive.
Yeah.
You are like, that is the exact thing. She just said this and that. Like, you can make that imply whatever you want it to mean. To me, the first thing that popped in my head was just like Dave said, kind of like personality. Like, like I'm mad at her right now, and that thing right there can kick rocks.
Yeah, it's.
But I'm with you, David. I mean, if I would say something like that to my wife, I would probably end up at the bottom of the stairs at some point.
Yeah.
Pop you upside the head. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not going to end in a happy way. Maybe not the stairway, but
I mean,
I'm in Margaritaville, Dave. I'm in Margaritaville, just north of Houston.
I mean, I could remember vividly in Easter Sunday, whenever I was a young child, my father looking at my mother and saying something about being the king of the house, and my mother crowned him with a cast iron skillet.
Sounds about right. That's old school loving right there. I bet you they stayed together, didn't they?
They stayed together for at least another 10 years after that.
Yeah. Married 20 years, 50 years altogether. Haven't killed him yet.
It is. He has a gift of insulting people without even them knowing he's insulting them.
MLS is the nicest mean guy. I do. It's just like part of my childhood. That's how I was raised. No, not necessarily how I was raised, but we were watching home videos when I was in like 10, 12, something like that. And yeah, it's the same sort of thing. It's a, what the hell is it called? It's a, I can't remember what it is. But yeah, it's just it's a natural quirk of me.
Yeah, well, it's fun.
But again,
it's not a bug, it's a feature.
That's right. Yeah. It's a feature.
And you either like it or you don't.
Yeah, I'm down here for Jimmy Buffett's funeral. It's sad. We had this, so my wife's at a conference, and of course it's booked at Margaritaville. And then, so we got all the plans, and then we hear that he died, and we're like, oh, it's going to be like so sad here. But no, nobody cares.
Fed, I think the ripping people, we do that a lot in Scandinavia. That's a sign that we like you. If we're nice to you, we don't trust you. But if we do some friendly banter, then you're becoming our friend. That's why
I'm worried now.
Me and Nick, whenever I make fun of him being Swedish, one, funny, two, he probably knows it's in yes.
Uh-oh.
We're losing Baker.
Baker, you're going in and out.
Your audio's going in and out. Yeah, we're losing you. It's that damn European internet.
We're having a shitty weather right now. I'm going to turn this back on, and then I'm just going to ding-a-ding-a-ding.
It's an insult to her weight because she had gained weight.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
How do you know it was her weight? She didn't say that.
Last answer is stricken.
Absolutely.
She's nervous.
Sorry,
she's so nervous.
Was Anne within the room when Cara made that comment?
Yes.
And I know we're making a oral record here, but you made some gesturing motion, so I just want the record to reflect. Are you saying that she was gesturing to her own body originally?
She
went like this.
Taking her hand and said, with this, want to go to the beach with something like that.
But that doesn't mean weight.
Was she
It just mean you as a person.
Anne.
Okay, so Anne was standing there.
Yes, ma'am.
And what was Anne's response after the defendant made that statement?
broken.
Oh my
general-
God.
How did she feel?
Sustained.
Right.
How do you know how she felt?
That's why it was stricken.
Ooh, sorry, I'm getting angry. I don't
Not
like.
in terms of what you
Yeah.
think she was feeling
Oh.
inside.
Sorry.
What observations did you make in terms of her outward demeanor?
How can I explain it in a word?
It's just a word.
I want to say the word, but I don't want to say an objection, and I'm saying something incorrectly. She was beside herself. Is that appropriate or
I
not?
hate when witnesses try to second guess their own
I
statements.
don't
Just
know what
say
word to use
Just say it.
exactly.
Right, Your Honor.
Say she looked sad.
That was like the last answer.
She looked unhappy.
Focusing on her face, or did she stay in the
Sad. Sad.
Objection.
No, you're doing it wrong.
Um,
You'd think they would give her better
basically
coaching.
for a sad expression.
Okay. Let me ask you this.
Okay.
Did the defendant and Anna Marie end up going to the beach that day?
Wow.
What is this
Might have
supposed
been
to-
raining.
What the
I
hell
want
is?
to ask you about another point in time, focusing on that time frame where they were with you after the cruise.
Yes,
Do
ma'am.
you remember, do you recall a time when the defendant was considering going out for a run and a conversation or a comment that she made at that period of time?
Yes.
What do you remember?
Once again, there was friction, and
Objection, Your Honor.
Kara put her sneakers on, continued to run up.
Hold on. So what, if the attorney objects, you have to.
How is
wait
it not
until
hearsay
after-
because she's dead?
Um,
Murph,
So I'm gonna.
It's hard for
overrule
a
the objection if you can just
witness not to.
be asked to
There's
question.
an exception to that rule.
If you could just indicate in terms of the physical observations, the body movements you saw Kara in terms of where she was coming from and what she said.
Came out of a back bedroom, came storming into the kitchen, put her sneakers on, turned to me, said, "I will never take Brianna away from you. I want a divorce," and continued out the door running.
Do you remember if Anne was in the room at that point in time?
Yes, she was.
Okay. And Kara made the comment, "I want a divorce."
Yes, ma'am.
And I think you said that she also said the words, "I'll never take Brianna away
Away
from
from
you."
me. I'll never take Brianna away from you, Auntie.
Okay, so I'm looking for clarification of who she was making that comment to, if that was to Anne or if that was to you.
To me.
Can't see
Okay.
me.
She was speaking to me in those words.
Okay,
I wasn't directed to Anne.
okay.
Why would she not take the?
You at that point to go on a run?
Yes, ma'am.
She wants a divorce from you.
divorce is always the motive. You know how many divorce cases I handle with their
Now, at some point.
it's not a murder
did they
involved?
leave your house and go back to
Right.
Massachusetts together?
Yes.
Okay.
This would have been in 2010,
I now want to direct your attention to a different date
The
after
ye-
the cruise.
the year
I'm
they
gonna say that would have been
she was
beginning of
unalive.
March or so that
They,
had
they
left
just
your
gotten
house
back
to go
together
out.
after being in divorce.
And are you
Yeah.
aware
Proceedings.
that Anne passed on March 29th? Okay. So I want to ask you about a phone call, if you received a phone call from the defendant in that time frame, after the cruise but before Anne passed. Do you remember receiving a phone call from her?
Yes.
Now, before you got this phone call from the defendant, had you ever received a phone call from her prior to that date?
No.
Okay. Were you aware at that point if she even had your phone number?
No, ma'am.
Do you remember the date that this occurred on, or how many days before Anne's passing it occurred, if you remember?
I do remember. It was a Wednesday before, because my niece passed on a Monday. And there's certain things you don't forget. And I remember that clearly.
Okay, so about 5 days before?
Yes,
4 or
ma'am.
5 days before?
Wednesday evening, called me, and my niece passed that Monday.
Okay. When you received the call, did you recognize the number it was calling from, the person was calling from?
No,
Did you recognize the area code?
I did.
What was that, if you remember?
Rod
413.
Stewart.
Did you know that to be Western Mass?
And that's the only reason I picked up the phone,
Okay,
was because it was 413, and I didn't know it was one of my family members. That's the only reason I picked up that phone,
okay.
was because I knew the area code.
So you answered the phone call,
Yes, ma'am.
and how do you know it was the defendant calling?
No,
She told me
Rose.
and she stated who it was.
She was acquitted twice, convicted on the third, and it was overturned.
No, 2 hung juries.
Oh yeah, hung juries.
Hung
Not
jury
acquitted.
is one conviction that was
When she
overturned.
had called me, she had wanted to
You're right.
talk to me. She had says to me, the only one she's going to listen to you is you. And it was about a dog. You need to tell her I can't afford the dog. We can't afford a dog. And in the meanwhile, the alarm went off.
Objection.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
Strike the portion of the witness's answer where she refers to the alarm.
Let me just
Mark
clarify that. Did
would
you,
buy the
did
dog
you
for
physically hear
$250.
an alarm sound in the back of the call?
No,
Okay.
but
You're
that's what I
talking-
was told.
Okay. Okay.
So I
understand.
believed it.
Okay.
Oh my God! Stop answering questions
where she was
that weren't
calling
asked
from?
of you.
Yes, because she hung up the phone and then called me back.
Okay.
That's within minutes. Whatever happened, hung up the phone, then called me back. And at that time, I had asked, where are you? She was at the fire station. She was doing a 24-hour shift that night. And she was at the fire station when I received that phone call.
The
on that
defendant was
Wednesday. But I know the
first
day.
responder.
Both were first responders.
So she indicated.
Well, there's one
to
I'd rather have carry me down
that
off of a
Ann was
burning
the only
building.
person you listened to, and
Yeah,
there
the
was a
one who's
dispute
big enough
about
to
when
carry
put
you.
a dog.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay. Did you have any conversation with the defendant at that point about how she got your number?
I had asked.
And
Because
how
I
did
had
she
never-
respond?
I was under a fictitious name, and
Objection.
Sustained.
Move to strike.
that's what she had told me.
Hold on.
Oh my God! Stop.
Stop talking, woman.
Responses. Hold on. Attorney Sewell
They were
asked-
trying to get this woman.
Did she
Broke
indicate
all
that she
together.
had received your phone number from Ann's phone?
Yes,
Okay. And did she indicate if she had saved your phone number in her own phone?
can you just repeat that?
Sure. She said she got your phone number from Ann's phone,
Yes.
correct? Okay. Did she say if she had saved your phone number in her own phone?
Yes, my number was in her phone.
Okay. Did she indicate whose name that phone number was under that she put in her phone?
Yes,
What did she indicate?
some Taylor, John Taylor or something. All I recall was Taylor. I don't recall the first name, but it wasn't Nancy or wasn't it wasn't me.
Okay. During this phone call with the defendant, she said she was at the fire station.
Yes,
Did she indicate at all where Ann was while she was making that phone call?
Ann may have been home.
May.
May have been home.
Okay. I think you said just a minute ago that there were 2 separate phone calls,
Yes,
all within a short period of time.
yes,
Do you know why there were 2? In other words, did she say why she was calling twice?
yes. That she had a call. When you're at the fire station, you have a call. So I assume, I'm not assuming anything. She had a call, so she hung up the phone. I didn't question it, and then called me back, and I picked up the phone. I didn't question why, or I didn't think to question why you're calling me back. I didn't know you were going to hang up. So
When the defendant was telling you that she had concerns about the money for the dog on the phone, how would you describe her demeanor?
upset.
She's been out on bail.
Yeah, once the trial got overturned, she got bail.
Just to, again, she's now upset that Anne wants a dog that she believes she can't afford. They're missing the little bit of evidence that Anne had run up $25,000 in debt.
Yeah.
Just, that's pittance. I know. Who doesn't have $25,000 in debt? And now she wants a dog. This dog, she makes Mark buy for her, or at least take out the money of his account without telling his wife, yes, Mark is her corner-kissing boyfriend who is married to another woman. And she ran up $7,000 of debt on the 3 credit cards he gave her. And he hit, when the wife found out she had given him 3 credit cards, two credit cards, he didn't mention the third one. And but now she's bad because she said we can't afford a dog. They have a 2-year-old daughter, and now she wants a puppy. I know it sounds bad that we can't afford a dog, and I'm gonna call your aunt because she said I was like a second mom for her. I would have called her too. I don't know. Yeah.
But
But
why
this-
is this? This is relevant only to motive. It's not even an element of the crime. It's just motive.
They wanted that evidence of like she looks like this and I look like this.
That's
Blah,
exactly.
blah.
That's what they
That's what I
wanted
want.
out of this woman.
Yeah, I can't wait
And
to
then
the
they want to
porcupine
try to
pit.
make it weird that she has her phone number. Like Old Line Red said it too. I mean, I've had many relationships where I've had families' phone numbers that I've never called.
Yeah.
Of the significant other, like just in case. There's like just in case stuff, especially if it's her mom or dad.
Yeah, and they already had a dog. I forgot that one. I still have my ex-wife's phone number because we have kids together. That could be some point in time where I might have to call her. But
I have all my ex's family still on my phone. I used it once for my daughter's graduation.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And how is this? Yeah, and she put it under another name, maybe because Anne was a snooping woman who would get angry if she said, "Well, I tried to call your aunt because you have a spending problem. We can't afford this." They made a combined $100,000 the last year they were alive. Testimony from the divorce proceedings.
And
now,
if she's racked up credit cards with another man that's not involved in her relationship and a credit card on her wife's name, this lady has some kind of spending problem.
she had at least $32,000 of debt with $100,000 income.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
It is.
So.
After that period of time, is that the last time and only time that you spoke with the defendant on the phone?
Yes, no.
It's in the court. There's the fire truck.
So,
I want to ask you on the date of March 29th.
so would there have been some sort of insurance payout
Do you remember that was
on her
haven't
death?
haven't heard anything about it.
Yeah, they didn't say
Do
anything
you
about it.
remember if you had any communication with Anne on that date?
I didn't physically speak with her, but there was communication.
Okay, and at this point, you're in Florida, correct?
Yes.
And she's in Massachusetts?
Yes.
Okay, so this would have been over the phone?
Yes.
Do you remember receiving some phone calls from her phone?
Yes.
Do you remember whether or not you answered those phone calls?
I did it.
Okay.
Oh, so
do you
she
remember
communicated
what
with
time
you,
those
but
phone
you
calls
didn't want to
came in, or what
communicate with
time
her.
of day?
They were early morning and maybe it was 10:30, 11 o'clock. And then I received another one, maybe 11:30, 12:15 when I looked at my my missed calls on my phone.
Okay. And you remember, I know you indicated that you didn't answer the phone that day when Ann called. Do you remember whether or not she left any voicemails for you?
Yes.
Okay.
I want to know what she was buying.
Do you remember
Yeah.
also receiving any
There was
text
nothing at the
messages
house
from Ann that morning?
explaining
Yeah.
$32,000 of debt.
Do you remember, I'm assuming you don't remember the exact wording of the text messages, but do you remember the
I don't.
topics of conversation of the text messages?
I remember the topic, but not the exact words.
Okay, what do you remember?
She had asked about a couple of different movies that were out at the time.
Yes, Sharon.
Basis,
Do you say?
you're saying? Attorney Sewell?
Judge, it's not being offered for the truth, it's being
Murph, you haven't been following along.
Yeah.
This lovely couple is married. Cara, the defendant, has a male friend visiting the day before the murder. How what they do, we haven't heard anything about it, but Anne-Marie got angry about it the next day, according to the defense. Then we have Anne-Marie, the deceased person. She had Mark, the guy who gave her 3 credit cards, which she ran up $7,000 of debt. He only was allowed to kiss her on the corner of the mouth. Why? I don't know. He had a wife. she got real angry that he gave another woman 3 credit cards. When she wanted the dog, she told Mark, not she, but she wanted the dog. She told Mark to get $250 for the dog. He then made a cash withdrawal so he could buy the dog. They never got the dog. And he was promised if he would stand in line and wait for an iPad, he was allowed to kiss her a proper kiss on the mouth. But beside Mark, she also had Clara, who is a female friend, lover, whatever. We have just heard about her. We haven't heard about any debt to this woman, but still, there's 5 people and another wife in this case. So it's an interesting case.
I'm gonna need to jump off here in a bit.
Out that morning, which I do think will be there'll
Busy
be
day.
additional evidence regarding that.
Can I see
The corner
prices that
kiss.
were-
Wait, can I just say,
Isn't that fun?
my wife doesn't know anything about this case, and I walked up to her and I was like, "Can I have a corner kiss?" She knew exactly what to do. She knew exactly what a corner kiss was.
I've never heard that before.
I haven't either. I was like, "Can I have a corner kiss?" And she said, and like offered like the corner of her mouth.
That is funny.
Is she a secret lesbian, bisexual, gambling addict?
She might be. I've never heard of that.
And they said it specifically in the trial. She said it a couple times to the defense attorney. The
I
corner
know.
mouth kiss. And I was just like, that is just so funny to me. It's so funny. to me.
Corner kiss. Jody, everyone's
Jody-
changing up their avatars.
Yeah, all the time. This is
Jody's
a corner
looking good in
kiss.
that. That's
I
a
think I'm
corner-
going to change that to my new avatar there.
the corner kiss.
The corner kiss.
I should have really thought about the lighting. It's going to be ugly in the
Everyone
calendar.
loves it because the person that's being kissed looks terrified.
Yeah, but if you stand in line and wait for an iPad, you can get a real smooch.
Yeah, she
It's-
said she came a full on kiss. Like, okay.
And this Mark guy, he slept in her sleeping bag after she died at the fire station.
Ew.
Yeah, that's what people noted, that he was sleeping in her sleeping bag after the fact. They
Pink
thought that was
sleeping
weird.
bag.
I mean, hey, whatever. Clearly, he has a thing for her, so.
Well, thank you. I describe my style like a 3-year-old disabled, mentally retarded drawer. It's the first time we broke Jamie today. It's been a long day.
I've been
No,
more
no,
angry than anything. It's been weird because I'm
Yeah.
just so angry at stupid witnesses.
Yeah, I don't think it's a sexual thing. Well, because hopefully he'll go on stand and tell us why.
Yeah, maybe he'll give us some information. They have to call him. There ain't no
Yeah.
way they're going to mention his name and then not call him, right, Dave?
Well, I mean, they could. They could be teasing, but it would be
Well,
very
in the
bad.
opening, she didn't say who they're going to call and stuff, but she talked about him heavily in the opening, so you would think they have him on the list to call him, right?
Yeah, you would think.
I hope so,
Yeah,
because I'm here. I want to hear what he
it-
has to say.
Everyone, please switch between me and Shizzy because he needs the watch hours. I need the subscribers. So please
He needs
go
subscribers.
give him some watch hours.
Everybody
Bam-
go subscribe also.
Bama Rose used to go by a different name, and this is Rose. Everyone thought it was Rose LNC, but it's Rose Inc. So she changed her name to Bama Rose. She's awesome mod.
Thanks, Hoffman.
Awesome
So the
mod.
question I have for you is, without getting into any
Did
of
you
the
have to go,
content
David?
of the text messages that you received from Nan,
I
do you
do.
remember receiving some text
Hang on a
messages
second.
from her in the late morning around 11 o'clock or so?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I got to go. My wife's almost done with her conference. I'm gonna get ready. Go meet up with her. Hey,
Good for
guys.
yourself.
hopefully soon I will get back to regular programming. But check me out, Making Law Simple, MLS. I don't have it anywhere, but I'm sure there'll be a link somewhere posted. And don't forget, tomorrow, Tuesday at noon Eastern, 6 p.m. Swedish time, Nick and I will be dual streaming the continuation of the Jodi Arias trial. So we're still talking about all these sexy messages and all that fun stuff between her and Travis. And then I will do continued coverage once I get back home on the Whitmer case. I know we have a verdict, but I still want to see how horrible the state did and point out all of the BS that's going on or that went on in that trial. And hopefully we could try to avoid that going forward. So check it out. MLSN, Making Law Simple. I'm changing it right now as we speak.
Yeah, because it's so hard to find. When you put in MLS, it goes to Major League Soccer.
Yes, it's going to be Making Law Simple. I am literally working on it right now amongst work that I have to do. But now I got to go meet my wife. So thank you all. Thanks, Baker, for having me on, Shizzy, and for having me on your channel as well. And everyone in the chat, you guys are awesome.
Yeah.
I need to get back to this. I'm missing it all.
Yeah, come back and have fun with us crazy people.
All right, will do. Finally, done with these vacations. I will say that Sweden wasn't planned necessarily. This one was planned for a while. So this was going to be my only one, but then it went back to back. So now it looks like I do nothing but vacation. I really don't. I do some work in between. But take care, all.
Bye.
Bye, Dave.
I've got rid of him. No, I love Dave. He's such a nice guy.
Yes.
And he's
Wait, get out of here.
It's my stream. You can't throw me out of my stream.
Sorry,
I know you have Shizzy here, so you want to throw me out, but no, but he's such a nice, giving person, and he's really good at. He's kind of like Uncle Steve. He has a great way of explaining things. He's Steve's a little bit more rambunctious little brother.
Yeah,
and he's a fun guy to drink with.
He's like the he's like the evil twin of Steve Gosney.
Yeah, they're both. You can always learn something, but when Steve falls asleep, Dave just gets funny. I can't feel my lips. That was such a great, and yeah, I was so happy that they had Wi-Fi on the ferry so we can live stream those 90 minutes because that was so much fun.
Oh my god, that was.
Can you pin my comment because it goes right to Shizzy's stream?
Yeah, I can do whatever you want.
I put it in private chat.
Yeah, I put it in there for people.
Like this.
There you go. No, that's MLS.
That's
the other one. It's up farther.
Oh, Shizzy. Yeah. Maybe I should write what I'm clicking on. But again, I'm just a monkey pushing buttons.
Fine.
It's like me every day.
Yeah. When anyone shows up, it's but somebody says they like what we do. And I like hanging out with all these cool people and meeting people like you and Dave and Jamie, my favorite girl on the internet. Elsa Jean used to be my favorite girl. Now I have Jamie. Don't Google that. And no, but I really like to have all the different people come along, and I love the chat is so interactive, and it really makes it fun to stream these cases.
Mm-hmm.
It really does. It makes it worth all of the heartache of having like a really bad case where you're just like, oh, it's just killing me.
Oh, another cool person I met
chat.
OMG.
Yeah. MG, he's awesome.
Yeah.
He's awesome.
Yeah, he's probably in his car. If you want a link, he can get a link any moment.
Yeah.
His insight's always good too.
He invited me, I think it was Saturday or Friday. I forget.
Thank you. Hey, Mimsy.
Hey, Mim.
Hey, Mim.
Good afternoon.
I just have a few questions for you.
When
Come
you
on,
were
Porcupine.
texting back and forth,
Get her, Rosie.
let me just ask you this. Did you know from your conversations with Anne Marie Rintala that she was in some financial trouble?
Yes.
And did you know that she had taken out loans?
No.
Did you know that she had taken out a $20,000 loan in Cara's name?
No.
Ooh.
Did you know that she had 3 credit cards from Marco Osak that she was charging on?
No.
Do you know Carla Danelli?
I do.
Was that a former girlfriend of your niece?
Years ago.
Okay. Did you know that Cara Rintala's credit that she was using a credit card from Cara Rintala that she had about $10,000 on?
No.
Ooh, see, there it is.
Can I see the attorney sidebar again?
This ma'am, she is just. Who are you talking
Turned.
I would
Which-
love. Can I have some credit cards? Anybody? Anybody in chat? We just get a credit card out.
Yeah,
Your
you
name.
can get all the corner kisses you want for I don't know how many money she. Which trains did I take pictures of a train when I was on vacation? I can't remember. I took a lot of pictures of videos of mountains.
I
I'm not-
know, and exactly, old line. What is she buying with all this money? No, that's not the deal, Mass. I don't pay it off. I just charge it.
Well, maybe she was buying paint.
I guess so.
Yeah, but-
I'm so confused. I'd like to know more.
Well, it could be for anything. People have weird spending habits. Which, we were handling a weird case that's basically these 2 ladies went in on some property spending half, I guess is the best way. They're not even in a relationship other than one trying to help the other out. And then one is a contractor, has her own business, owns another company that's not even related to that. And they both spent money on building this house up. And at some point the relationship went south, and now they're like in basically a really bad legal custody battle over getting this house sold. One of them doesn't want to sell, but also doesn't want to pay to be bought out, because they can't afford it. And so they're making it difficult on selling the house. And it's just, relationships are messy sometimes, and it doesn't have to be that way. But sometimes people just get salty and make it what could be an easy thing just more difficult. So that's why it's confusing.
It is confusing. It's a lot more confusing that she's getting this money from all sorts of different people. And everybody's just like, okay, like, oof. I would just want to know, like, yeah, like what? Because clearly they weren't doing, it doesn't seem like they were doing anything together that we've heard so far.
Right.
No, and the house was
I
really
want a
shitty.
dog, and I don't even know how the loan came about, like where that came out.
Making Law Simple Network. Look at my name.
Look at it.
My name.
Yeah, look at it.
I mean, I could spend 25 grand on lashes if I I'll just have credit.
Yeah, but and again, it's
Does it rise to
This-
the level of murder? That's where it
What I'm
throws me off.
wondering.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's what I'm
again,
saying. I want to know more about the different relationships where this money is coming from, because money is a motivator too.
Well, and
yeah,
if I'm not mistaken, defense can't even bring up these other relationships. I could be
Well, they
wrong
did.
on that.
they did
did.
in the opening.
So we'll see if it goes anywhere on their side of the case. But the state definitely didn't bring any of them up. Not at all. Because I bet you they won't bring them up because it looks bad. It puts eyes on other people.
Yeah, and again, we've seen this in especially the Zachariah Anderson case. They find who they believe are guilty, and then they prove that's the one. And they stop exactly when they believe they can prove it. They didn't look into this Mark guy until after the first trial, I believe. That's the first time they figured out, oh, she had a boyfriend who she owed $7,000. And again, if she's spending all this money, someone, like in the Alex Murdoch case,
Hey,
someone is out there trying
So
to
during
get paid.
examination, you were telling the prosecutor, you were very close with your niece, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you guys talked every day, is that right?
Pretty much.
Or texted every day, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
And you would tell each other everything, right?
Basically, what we want. Yes, what I thought.
Okay. You would tell her what you thought, she would tell you what she thought, because you guys are like sisters, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, in that close relationship that you had with your niece, you said she didn't tell you about Carla Daniele's $10,000 on a credit card debt that she had?
Oh, it was allowed in.
I'll allow this question.
Thank you. You can answer, Mayor.
Excuse me, can you repeat it?
Sure.
Thank you.
In the relationship that you had with your niece that was very close, she didn't tell you about the $10,000 credit card debt that she had with her old girlfriend, Carla Daniele, right?
I don't recall. I don't recall
You don't
that.
recall her ever saying that?
No, I don't recall it.
Now,
So that's 42,000 now presented in this case. That's what some people make in a year.
when
Yeah.
Cara Rintala and your niece and Brianna came to see you, they took some pictures, is that right?
I believe so. I'm sure they did.
And I don't mean to upset you, but I'm gonna approach you with some pictures. If you need a minute, take a minute.
I need a minute then.
Sure.
Oh, you want to bring them to me here? Oh, I didn't. Oh, I thought you wanted me to go out and look.
No, I'm gonna bring, if you need a minute.
Oh,
you
no,
take
I'm good.
pictures.
I could look.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry.
It's okay if you need to take a break.
I'm fine.
Okay. Let us know.
Apparently not.
Okay, can you look at those pictures for me, Cecil?
What is happening
Thank
in this moment?
Thank you for supporting Shizzy.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
You
Thanks,
piece of it.
everybody. Shizzy is a good guy. I like
Try
his
to
stuff.
be.
Do you need a minute, ma'am?
No, I'm good.
So far we have Carla has has 10,000 on a credit card with Carla. She has 7,000 on a credit card with Mark, and she has 25,000 on a credit card with Cara. I'm not a lawyer, so I math. That's 42,000 outstanding debt. So I don't know where the 100K is from, but we haven't heard about more than that in the trial. So I won't put any numbers in that we haven't had testimony about.
It's probably coming because if they've had 3 already, I'm sure there's some info out there somewhere. So we'll see.
Yeah, she seems I had a teacher who maybe had a little bit too much to drink daily, and she looked kind of like this woman, and she smoked a lot of cigarettes too.
I think it's more than smoking
and yeah,
cigarettes.
It's fair to say that these are the pictures
If you look
that
at like this at 19, just
were
imagine what you
taken
look like
in
at
that
30.
visit that you told the prosecutor about when Cara and Anne Marie and Brianna went on the cruise and they stayed with you before and they stayed with you after? Okay. I'm just gonna go through them one by one.
That'd be bad.
Do you recognize this picture as a picture that was taken
Don't
on that visit
mention any names, Sean
in
Bird.
late February that you talked about your 50th birthday?
I can't recall where that picture was taken.
You don't?
No.
Do you recall testifying about this picture in another proceeding?
I don't recall.
Then you did, because Porcupine will show it
Is that
to
in
you.
your-
She'll tell you.
Oh, don't say it. Don't say it. Oh, something just came to mind.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know what I was supposed to say now. Damn it. Missed my opportunity.
She still
I'm
has
supposed-
family, son. Even though they're in a
Well, I'm
non-existent
gonna show
country.
you this photograph. I'm gonna show you a transcript of your testimony back on September 20th of 2016 about this photograph.
Okay.
So if you can just read lines 12 through 21 to yourself, please.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay.
Does that refresh your memory, ma'am, as to whether or not this picture right here
Mhm.
with this marking on it was taken when Cara and Anne Marie Rintala and Brianna came to see you for your birthday?
I'm sorry, ma'am, but even this isn't telling me if I recall this particular picture. I don't recall this particular picture. Even reading this isn't
I
saying that I recall
highly
this
doubt
picture.
that.
If you can show me where
Yeah,
I
I
can
doubt it.
remember, I can't.
Sure.
You told me 12 to
This
21.
picture is marked
Maybe they're fans
37.
of mine and
Mhm.
And
see it,
here
son.
in this, you say,
You told me to 31 to read.
I'm sorry, I was wrong then.
Oh,
I should have
okay,
said
'cause
more
I-
than that. That was
okay.
my fault.
I stopped.
So, in this case, this is a photograph that was taken about that time of the visit with you,
Okay,
yes.
so that's 9.
And then all the way
9.
down here, this is that photograph.
Okay, so
37.
you want me to read from 9 to 17?
Yes, please.
Okay,
It was my fault, the wrong
not a
numbers.
problem.
I gave you the wrong
We're
numbers.
good.
People don't. I don't know anybody that's not like, oh, I know where that picture is from. It's highly unlikely. She
Once
doesn't know.
again, I guess I'm going to have to say yes because this isn't particularly telling me that I recall this picture.
Well, this is the
Oh,
same
of
number on
course
the
not.
picture as the
What the
exhibit here, right?
What is
37,
with these
37.
witnesses?
Yes, but nowhere here does it say I saw that picture. You're
This is
telling-
your testimony, where
Right.
you say this is the same picture. That's what you say here. You were asked the question.
Oh, I
Is
never
this a
said
picture of
that.
your niece, Cara, and
My
is this
niece
a photo-
Ann.
I'm sorry, this is a picture of your niece and Cara. Okay. And is this a photograph that was taken on or about that time of your visit? Yes. And then this is the photograph,
Okay.
number 37.
Okay, I just didn't want, I thought you wanted me to say where this picture was taken.
No, no, no.
No,
Same.
she didn't
Do you
ask.
recognize that
Yes.
then? Okay.
She's
Judge, I've moved
she's
into
reading into it because she's doing what she was coached by the prosecution. That's why she's so screwed up on it. Defense
She-
knows this too.
Yeah, because if she was just answering the question and not trying to she's just trying to go around things. You wouldn't
Yes.
think that way.
You have to be a professional to do that kind of crap and back around that kind of question.
Yeah.
But because
that
she's
photograph-
not, she's just a layperson. She's
Ask
going to
you
get
look
it
at that,
wrong,
Tell me whether or not you recognize that.
like me.
Like me,
I
probably too.
recognize it,
And what do you recognize it to be?
a picture in front of a cruise ship, so that I would take it this
well,
was
No,
the
this is the
cruise ship
fourth
they
time
took.
flights.
Okay, that would have been when they went down to visit you for your birthday?
It may have been, I don't particularly know the cruise ship they went on, so they might have gone on.
Just say yes.
I don't know if that was the exact same picture. I didn't take it.
Well, didn't you testify previously that you recognized this picture
This is the
as the one that had
deceased.
been taken at the time that they visited you on your birthday?
I don't know why they always do this. The prosecution's witnesses always forgets everything when the defense asks. If she does it, yeah, that's probably the picture. Well, don't you smile on a picture? There's tension behind the scenes, but yeah, they were acting up in front of the camera. What I observed in my house were they had a tense moment, and she wanted a divorce. I don't know how the cruise went. I wasn't there. You don't have to be impeached with your prior statements all the time because it just shows you trying to hide something. And you can just say, yeah, I look happy in every picture too, and I got a divorce or whatever you want to say. It's sorry.
Nothing wrong with that. No, I'm with you. Just it's frustrating because she's trying to be the mouthpiece for the prosecution and bury this lady. And if she would just tell the freaking truth and not worry about what the the prosecution's telling her, coaching her to say, if she would just tell the truth, this would get done and over with much quicker, and either she'd be found guilty or she'd be found innocent, instead of trying to force this crap. And it just looks forced.
Every single one of them have been like this. And like, I hope the jury's noticing it. I hope the jury notices that, oh, look at their flowery testimony when when the state's, answering or asking them questions, but then this trying to like, come in, the defense is coming in, and all of a sudden they're just all over the place and they're evading answers and they're back. It's so annoying. Like, I hope they're noticing this.
I hope so too.
I don't recall. I think it's like so long ago. I just can't just picture.
But
the
you can
picture and you want me to
totally
tell you, and I don't
remember
wanna say
what
something
she
that
said
I
in the
don't
kitchen.
Recall.
Yeah, you can recall
wanna
what
say
she said in the
something
kitchen, but you
I don't
can't
know.
recall anything else.
I'm just asking if you remember previously testifying that you did recognize this picture.
Yes, I do recognize it. I don't know where
At
it
the
was
previous hearing, you
taken.
recognized it as the picture that Cara and your niece and Brianna took outside of the cruise that they took when they went to see you on your birthday. Is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
But you remember exactly what she said in the kitchen. No question about it.
But you can't remember anything about this picture, which was probably taken on the same date, like 15 minutes before.
Exactly. It's so crazy.
And she could sense the feeling and hear alarm bells and
Well, and then the whole running out the house thing, like she had that story down to a T. She said this exactly as she had her, shoot with her hand and she ran
Photographs in
out
front
the
of you
bar.
now.
Like,
I'm
come
gonna
on.
ask you if you recognize them from the same time period when Cara Rintala, your niece Anne Marie Rintala, and Brianna came down to see you for your birthday and went on that cruise. Do you recognize those photographs from that time period?
Every one of them.
Oh, now you do.
Introduce them?
Okay.
No objection. Three? Three.
dum, dum, dum. Move along. Come on.
Yes, can we just be seen briefly?
God. Yeah. But do you recognize these pictures? Every single one of them.
Yeah. Wendy.
Hey, Wendy.
This
Hello.
has just got to be just so difficult for a defense.
Yeah. And it's just getting annoying to everyone. I hope the jury feels like us that just say yes, because now all the witnesses except the dispatcher has been impeached with prior statements and had to change their story.
Exactly. And I mean, I like her, but it can, and if there's anybody on the jury that doesn't like the way she has to like forcefully get these answers out of people, it could make her look bad to the jury too,
Sorry,
which
who is he talking to?
I don't know. Did they not turn the sound on? Oh,
She isn't. She's talking to someone in the.
she is.
Thank you for stopping by, Wendy.
Yes, thank you.
Yes, very much so.
So this exhibit that's now been marked 49, could you take a look at this and tell the jury who's depicted in that exhibit, in that photograph?
My niece, show them.
Yes.
Sorry, my niece Anne Marie and Cara on the right and on the left.
Thank you.
Sure.
And the same for exhibit 50. Could you tell the jury?
Why don't you get it
I'll
blown up
see that
so
one,
everyone
so
can
the
see
jury
it?
can see them. I just
I know.
want a witness to.
Mhm.
Cara on the right, Anne on the left, and their daughter Brianna in the center.
And exhibit 51.
Yeah, they shouldn't be showing the kid in the picture.
Myself, my
They can blur it
ex-husband,
out.
and my niece Anne.
Hey, Squawk Bob and
Cool,
Medina.
Bob.
And exhibit 52.
Good evening.
Sure.
You coming in late. It's 10 o'clock.
My
Oh,
50th
11 o'clock your
birthday.
time.
At the restaurant, myself and my ex-husband.
And exhibit 53.
Anne, Cara, and Brianna.
Till court ends.
As may I publish these to the jury?
You may.
Thank you.
And again, publish is a legal term of art. It simply means that we're going to show these photographs to you. So you can, instead of being on the screen, you're going to have the photographs and you can just look at them and then pass them to the next juror. Keep in mind that these are exhibits, and so you will have them with you when it comes time to deliberate. Also keep in mind that the questioning continues, and so don't become distracted by looking at the photographs. Please also keep your focus on the witness testifying.
I have no further questions, Judge. Thank you.
Okay.
Ms. Hoffman, did you take any photographs in your house when the defendant and Anna Marie were in separate rooms of them?
I don't recall doing that.
Do you remember
What?
taking any photographs when the defendant made the gesture towards Anne and her body?
No.
Did you
But
take
you
any
totally
photographs when
remember.
she came out of the room and said, "I want a divorce"?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I have no further questions.
I have nothing further on.
All right, you may step down. Thank you.
Thank you. Take this with me. I don't want to get it. Thank you.
What does that prove? It doesn't prove anything.
Well, it proved that she can read minds.
Yeah.
May I proceed, Your Honor?
You may.
Thank you. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
Would you please introduce yourself to the jury and spell your last name for us?
My name is David Swan, last name spelled S-W-A-N, and I'm a trooper with the Massachusetts State Police assigned to the Office of the Attorney General.
You stole my second question. How long have you worked for the Attorney General's office
Who
as
cares?
a member of the state police?
I transferred this past February.
So why don't we do this sort of in chronological order, going back to 1999. Did you start working for the middle
Thank you so much for joining us, Medina. Please go over and give Shishi Wisnot a subscription and a thumbs up.
Middlesex VA's office that
He's
year?
pinned at the top
I
of the
did.
chat.
And prior to that point, what was your
Pimped again.
educational background?
Is
I
he
have a
okay?
Bachelor of Science degree in criminal justice from American International College.
And what did you go to work doing for the Middlesex VA's office?
Initially as an investigator
Do you
for
really
the
know him,
Middlesex
Flux?
District Attorney's Office,
Mhm.
and then
Flux knows me.
transcended.
She's been on with me before
getting
with
into
Oh,
Valhalla.
I thought you meant the witness.
I've sent you a
How long
link,
did you
Flux,
work
if you
for the
want
Middlesex
to
VA's
come on.
office?
You are a resident expert in
5
these kind of
years.
relationships.
June 99 to
God.
2004. I forget what month.
And in 2004, did you move on to a different
Oh,
law
I think she
enforcement
knows the
agency here in the Commonwealth?
I moved.
I mean, I've only been in
to the
one
Attorney General's
lesbian
office as a
relationship.
civilian, doing cell phone forensics. And
Yeah.
forensics.
How was
They're
it
pretty
that you
fun.
ended up or gravitated toward
It was.
doing cell phone and computer forensics?
It started at the Middlesex DA's office. There was a
You can't see me.
some
Thank
of
you
the
so much.
godfather of computer forensics in Massachusetts, J.J. McLean.
Objection, Your Honor.
Overruled. Who's Mr. McLean?
He is now retired, but was a Medford police detective and was an expert in computer forensics and cell phone forensics. He had a case, murder case out of Medford, I believe,
Objection, Your Honor.
Why are we talking about this guy?
Gesundheit.
Relevance?
So we're talking about this witness's background.
We're talking about somebody else's background.
No, I'm speaking to Mr.
Oh,
Gagnon at this
I'm
point.
sorry, Judge, I apologize.
So what is the relevance of this other case? I guess I'm not clear how this is relevant to this witness's training and experience, that
My
background information.
Yes, my understanding is Mr. Swan is attempting to explain how he became involved in and educated in computer forensics. And this is part of his explanation.
Well, you're talking about this
We can
guy's.
keep this segue brief.
Yes.
I'll allow. Go ahead.
So I assisted him on the case that he was investigating in regards to a computer and digital forensics.
Hey, Digger.
Did you become interested in the topic?
I did.
So what sort of additional training, education, courses, et cetera, did you embark upon to broaden your knowledge of computer forensics?
After assisting Detective McLean, I started taking the best I could the courses available to further my knowledge in computer and forensic, digital forensic.
And did that education and training and coursework continue during your 9 years at the Middlesex Attorney General's office? Excuse me, the Massachusetts Attorney General's office.
It did.
And did you achieve any sort of title or certification or whatnot in this field?
I've attained several certificates in the products that we were using at the time. One of which was Cellbrite, spelled Cellebrit.
Oh, I hate Cellbrite.
And another product from Guidance Software.
Celebrate your favorite.
CAS.
And are those both programs that help you extract data from digital devices?
I had a case last year, and it took from, I want to say February, March, and then we finished it in, I think we had the last court meeting on the 22nd of December. And then we had to come back in January on a Saturday to do the closing arguments and do the in Denmark you do the first, you say are they guilty, not guilty, and then you do the sentencing. And we had to spend a Saturday on that, and we had to go through innumerable numbers of Cellbrite, and each and every one was, this picture is this thing, and here are the geotags on this thing. Look at this map, it's where the geotag puts it. And I can't remember if it was 200 or 400 different things we had to see on Cellbrite. Since then, I have hated Cellbrite, and it's in every case because it's what you use to download phones. Jeepers creepers.
Two of many, yes.
Creepers.
Those are the primary ones.
Digger, it's a great program, but when you have sat through a prosecutor who was sick, spending 8 hours where she couldn't say more than 3 words in a sentence without coughing her lungs up, going through pages of Cellbrite data, you hate it.
Now,
Sound like Marge Simpson too.
Am I correct that you took
It
a
was
leave from
so
the Attorney
bad.
General's
She was a
office
young
to,
young
embark on
prosecutor,
another
and
endeavor?
she was so
I
sick,
did.
but she had to get it
I
done
left
because
the
we
Attorney
spent
General's
so much
office,
time. It was set to last 4 days,
and began.
and I think we
State
spent
Police Academy
10
on
days
December
in court.
2nd Of 2013.
Good Lord.
How long was the
And
academy?
we were in
26
court
weeks.
the 21st and the
I
22nd
take it you
of
graduated.
December. We
Graduated
normally don't
May
go to
9th,
court. We have
2014.
Christmas
you
Eve
next?
at 24th. We celebrate at
After a
night.
short field training
So,
um,
and then
stint at the Brighton Barracks.
it was the 14th of January. It's a week before my birthday that
approximately
we had
10
to spend
months,
a Saturday in
and I
court
was
as well.
transferred to the State Police Detective Unit out of the Suffolk District Attorney's Office.
Am I correct that
Yeah,
each district attorney's office
I have
in
some
Massachusetts has its own
ingrown
state police
hatred.
detective unit attached to it?
Yes.
Exactly. Just as
And
I have
how long
cheese
were you with the
Danishes
Suffolk
PTSD.
County State Police Detective Unit?
We just chip
Roughly
chat.
9 years.
Come on.
And where are you now?
Again, in February, I transferred from Suffolk.
Longer.
At Suffolk, I was primarily doing homicide investigations and major felonies, and then transferred to the AG's
I'd rather
office in
listen to the
February
drying paint expert than this
of
guy.
2022.
Yeah.
While you were in Suffolk investigating homicides and whatnot, did you continue to investigate sort of cyber or digital aspects to your investigations?
I did. The knowledge base that I had, having conducted hundreds of cell phone exams and computer forensic examinations, it gave me a skill set that is, helps me in these other investigations.
Let's
I'd like
just
to focus more directly, sir, on the year 2010. And at that time, am I right that you were at the Attorney General's office?
That is correct.
And am I right that you were focusing primarily, if not exclusively, on digital and cyber forensic type evidence?
Yes.
Now, what sort of services did the Attorney General's office offer to other DA's offices in the state when it comes to analyzing electronic devices?
We were a fully functional forensic lab, so we offered our services to assist in any investigation that they may have, from child pornography to homicide to anything else, bank robberies and the like.
And to your knowledge, did different district attorneys' offices throughout the state have different capabilities in-house, their own capabilities when it came to digital evidence?
Some did, some didn't, but we were there to assist them in any way.
Now, sir, in connection with the investigation into the death of Cara Rintala in March of 2010, did the State Police Detective Unit attached to the Northwestern DA's office request some assistance from the Attorney General's office?
Didn't he go to the Ricada
And what
thing?
specifically
I
was
believe
requested?
he's in Memphis or
They
Tennessee
had
or something.
seized 2 BlackBerry cell phones
I heard that's where he was.
and requested the Attorney General's office assistance in examining.
Digger, no, you're wrong. This is the 4th case. I think I can speak for me and Jamie, who has been following this for the last week. The state hasn't reached the burden of proving guilt beyond unreasonable doubt, because they haven't really talked about why she should do it.
Yeah, like I haven't seen a single thing that proves to me that this woman was the only one that could have done this.
Yeah, I don't know about you, Shishi, but
What'd you say?
I asked Shishi what his
Oh,
opinion
shit.
was.
I'm sorry, I was paying attention to chat.
Oh, never watched chat.
I know.
So-
I couldn't help but Fluxes.
Yeah,
She's so awesome.
it's too bad she's on
Oh.
work, because we could really use her expertise, and now she knows a
No.
witness.
Well,
Step
she was
status
saying
confirmed.
that whenever she was studying some criminal defense, I think that's what it was, some criminal stuff. It was that this guy was a teacher there at one of those.
No, he knew a professor there.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but what do you think about this case? Do you think she's guilty?
Do I think she's guilty of being stupid? Yes. Did she off this person? I don't know. I just haven't seen anything that the prosecution's put forward except for circumstantial evidence of, well, this was just the ex, or, she called her fat, or she called her swimsuit fat, or she, was not liking the situation, that they were having a bad go at a relationship. And it was one of those, well, if you're going to get a temporary restraining order, I'm going to do the same thing, whoever started it, because, whoever gets it in first gets the restraining order and gets them kicked out of their house. I mean, I don't know their whole situation except for what the defense or the prosecution's been putting forward. And I'm not seeing anything that says that, there's no smoking gun to this, I guess is what I'm saying.
No,
It's all circumstantial.
And again, she was in the house, yes, but you can't definitively prove the time of death. And so far, they haven't brought. And now we have a tech guy who's coming in to testify about all the things she did on her phone. But we haven't heard whatever they're going to prove with the phone. And again, it's the fourth time this has been put in there before. And if it's just as clear as the other witnesses, then there has been nothing proven other than they were in a toxic relationship.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I'm seeing so far. These two
I mean,
probably shouldn't have been together.
But they were in a toxic relationship 2 years before her death.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't hear anybody saying the day before that they were in a toxic relationship, that they were having a yelling, knockdown, drag out fight, that they were throwing pots and pans, that it's not making a whole lot of sense. I mean, they've provided motive 2 years prior to this, but not up until this point. So, I mean, show me something.
Yeah.
And I think all the defense has to do is just keep hammering it. This was 2 years prior. All of this was 2 years prior. Okay, so the day that she died, there was some cell phone evidence here. Okay, what does the evidence prove? And I mean, if prosecution can bring out, this is what it shows, that she had pictures of her standing over a dead body, taking pictures of it and saving it
doing
up
a
on the
Sarah
cloud
Boone.
or something like that. Yeah, give me something. But if you just come in here and say, well, she deleted a message like 6 months prior. Okay.
Yeah, and they wanted to. They asked the fire station guy about the amount of debt she had. What she was mad about it. Yeah, and then defense asked, what did she say she was going to do? Divorce would take care of that. Oh, so it was also before the murder. But objection, can't have that in. I'm pretty sure that Rosemary the porcupine is going to have a great closing argument.
Yeah.
And they're going to be the state's closing will be just as Zachariah Anderson. They're going to make all kinds of scenarios. They haven't proven any of them, but it could have been.
Well, and I was following. I don't know if you had seen any of this. I was following closely the Whitmer kidnapping trial, the Fednapping.
Yeah,
I was
on
on with
Radix's.
Dave, I believe, in one of his streams, and so I haven't followed it closely, but I saw a few of it, and that was just they drove down the road, and right there is a house that belongs to someone.
Well, I was watching that on Radix's, and her channel she kept on having problems pulling up the feed, and she gave me mods so I could give her the link, and she had to actually take that offline to Odyssey, I think is where she ended up streaming it from, and to see that the prosecution flub it up just as much as these people are flubbing it up, not showing any proof whatsoever of it. I would hope that the jury sees through, the BS that the defense is, or that the prosecution is doing, and gets it straightened out, because this is, I mean, the defense really needs to hammer home how much of a disconnect there is in this.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see which experts they're going to bring in. But
if this was 12 years ago, this is 12 years of this lady's life just completely
13
years
2010. Yeah.
of her life completely destroyed over the initial investigators not being able to do their job correctly.
Yeah.
And again, they're sending over evidence the day before, or what they believe needs to be taken out of transcripts and stuff like that. Why haven't they fixed this? It's 7 years since the last trial. It's but again, they really want to put stuff in through the back door, just like Jody Arias did.
Yeah.
And were you specifically assigned, sir, to assist the Northwestern SPDU with that task? Am I right that one of those phones was a BlackBerry 9550?
She's living with her
quote unquote Storm 2
at her parents' house now, as
belonging
far as I
to
know.
Anne Marie Rintala.
God, it was a BlackBerry. I
And am
hated
I
those
right?
damn
The
things.
second phone was a BlackBerry 8330
Yeah,
belonging to
BlackBerry.
a Cara Rintala.
That is correct.
And do you recall how these two phones appeared in terms of their outward appearance, their color and whatnot?
I believe Kara's phone had a pink purplish rubber casing casing or surrounding it, and then the other BlackBerry, if memory serves me, did not have any case on there.
So was this an adopted daughter or natural birth?
Sort of going back
Adopted.
in time to
6 days old, they said.
2010, 13 years ago from now. Is 13 years a long time when it comes to digital or computer-related equipment?
Yes.
Okay, so back in 2010, when you were assigned to assist with this case, how would you have gone about extracting information or examining the contents of these two BlackBerries?
I used Cellbrite to conduct a logical extraction from the phone, which provided essentially the low-hanging fruit of the data within the phone.
And what do you mean by that?
So there are numerous data fields and data sets that a phone keeps. So call logs, text messages, emails, and the like. And so the logical exam essentially gets that stuff if it's capable of obtaining that stuff from the phone.
And how do you actually go about using Cellbrite to get that data out of the phone? What does the process actually involve?
So Cellbrite has a physical component and a software application that works in concert with each other. You affix the phone to the hardware portion of the of Cellbrite, and then run the program, and it extracts the data from that phone,
And
it extracts a copy of what's on it. It does not take everything, doesn't touch or alter any of the data. It still resides on the phone.
And in what format does the information that comes out of the phone, how is that presented or stored?
It then is stored in a proprietary format, and then we're able to use the software application to read that data, and then we're able to extract that data in PDF form or other various types of readable.
They didn't go online great enough, so
Well, how many
that's
times
why.
would you say that you used the Cellbrite software?
You couldn't use
to
it for
extract
anything
data
else
from
than
cell phones
business.
during your career?
So smartphones killed it.
Hundreds,
Yeah.
if not close to 1,000. I don't recall, but
Well, it was a great
Were you
business
specifically
phone.
trained and educated on how to use Cellbrite?
yes.
Yeah, it was
I'd
great
like to
for
ask you
sending
about certain
messages,
types of
texts
data
back and forth.
ask you whether or not using Cellbrite on Blackberries in 2010.
And they still have
were able to
Blackberries.
extract that type of data
I mean, they're
in
still
this case in
around.
particular.
Yes, some
The phone number
was it a
associated
Chinese
with the
company or someone who
Yes.
bought it?
call
Yeah, I think so.
logs.
Yes.
And when I say call logs, what do you interpret that to mean?
Incoming calls, outgoing calls, and missed calls.
Text messages?
Yes.
What about MMS? What does that mean to you?
It's a form of it's multimedia service. It's a text message that then may have attached a picture or some other file.
Any pictures stored within the phone?
Yes.
Videos inside the phone?
Yes.
Voice messages?
Yes.
Internet history?
Yes. If it has it.
Emails sent or received?
Correct.
Contact list?
Yes.
Oh my God.
And could you also get any data off of any memory cards or SIM cards that might have popped into the phone?
Yes, the SIM card we can get through Cellbrite, and if there's a memory card, we typically would take that out and extract it using Encase.
Now, what about, nowadays with iPhones, Androids, does the term precision location data mean anything to you?
Yes.
And what do you understand that to mean?
That essentially is the geolocational of the phone, that type of data now, where your everyday Apple, iPhone, or newer Android device is using geolocational data to know where you're at, and also guide you to someplace, something like Waze or something to that effect.
Okay, and that was like a modern day.
Waze didn't
2023
exist.
Description you just gave.
Yes.
Going back in time, 13 years to 2010, with these two BlackBerries, was that type of precision data available within the phone?
No.
Okay. Now, with respect to calls, can Cellbrite detect calls that were placed, meaning outgoing calls from the phone?
Yes.
How about calls that came in, calls that were received by the phone?
Yes.
And what about missed calls?
Yes, it can determine whether or not a call was missed or not.
Okay, now, would whether or not the phone was powered on or powered off change the way a call may show up as either missed or going straight to voicemail, for example?
So if the phone was off, and given the age of these phones, if the phone was off and a call was made to it, it would not show up unless the phone was one on, or two, once it was powered back on, it may come back and say that a call was missed, or there may be a voicemail that shows no call other.
With respect to
His
text
voice and
messages,
demeanor is, oh my God, he's
given
boring.
these phones
Oh, I know.
in 2010 with Cellbrite, were you able to extract text messages that had been sent out from the phone
Yes,
and text messages that were received by the phone?
yes,
Does Cellbrite have the ability to distinguish whether a text was read or unread?
yes,
Can it tell you when those text messages may have been read?
it cannot.
Just simply that
Oh,
they
of
have
course.
been read.
Correct.
Can it tell you by whom the text was read?
No.
Similarly, with calls placed, calls received, text sent, text received, does Cellbrite tell you which human being was actually doing those things?
It does not.
Now, what about some other sources of data that you were able to obtain in this case, and which you obtained in connection with these types of extractions? Specifically, when I say toll records from a service provider, what does that mean?
So the toll records, somewhat of an antiquated term now. It's called call detail records. So those are records kept by the service provider. So Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile, and they would keep track of, certainly for billing purposes, calls made, calls received, and the like.
Now, if
Can
you're
you back
getting
a little bit?
that data out of a phone itself through Cellbrite, why would
Yeah.
you bother?
This guy is.
No.
Get what sounds like the same information.
Not your
from
fault.
Cellbrite? Is that
No,
a
it's.
standard
I wish this
investigative
guy would just.
It is because it
He's taking his sweet
kind of
time
bootstraps,
answering it.
and
It's a
you're able to
delay.
compare. There's
Yeah.
stuff on the phone that you can delete, and you cannot change or alter.
This has nothing to do with anything.
And lastly, how about
No.
just manually examining the phone itself, like turning on the phone, going into the phone? Can you also do that?
Yes.
Is that considered as forensically sound, so to speak, as some of the other methods we've been describing so far?
No, but if there's no other means to obtain that data, it's best to obtain it and photograph it or video that data.
Sir, in this particular case, I believe you've already said that you conducted a Cellbrite logical exam of both phones, correct?
Correct.
And you also.
Yeah, he
there
probably
was
can't remember
actually
how or when he
investigation,
did it.
Call detail records obtained for each phone.
Yeah, and Cellbrite,
And were
never
you
heard
able
of it.
to, review and
Yeah,
analyze.
I
all
don't
that
know
data
what you're
from
talking
both
about. That's what'll
Henry's
happen
phone and
whenever
Cara Rintala's
defense
phone?
gets up there.
Yeah.
I can almost see it. The last questions, he'll go, I don't remember saying that.
No, it's It's almost 4:15, so this would be a good time to break.
Yeah, like I said, he's running a long delay on
So,
this.
members of the jury, we are going to break for today.
Oh my God, are you
Nice.
serious?
I'll ask
Yep.
that you be back tomorrow.
So
instead of
hopefully
9:30,
he's
because
going
there's
to talk
one brief matter
a
that,
bit
we need
faster
to
and a
take up,
bit about something tomorrow.
so as not to keep you
Because this is just
waiting around
awesome.
more than I already have. Please be here at 9:30 as opposed to 9.
9:30.
Once again, I instruct you not to discuss this case with anyone, including each other. I instruct you to refrain from any form of outside research or investigation concerning this case or any related aspect of this case. I instruct you not to, or to avoid rather, any contact with any of the participants in this matter. And again, I instruct you to
That looks
avoid,
like you're going to have
actively
an
avoid
argument afterwards.
any and all media accounts concerning this case. And
I really don't like the
have
way
a
they
good
do it.
evening, and we'll see you back
Oh,
here at
that-
9:30.
He should be asking them how long they plan on going with the witnesses and kind of finishing them out, at least the one side, before just cutting off for the day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. Because then it's like weird to
That'd
like
be
get
great.
back into it.
I'm
in the
sorry.
middle of
So,
everything.
sir, you may step down.
Like let them finish foundation.
Your Honor, I have several exhibits that I plan to use with Mr. Swan, Trooper Swan tomorrow. They consist primarily of data charts, which will show the content of communications on each of the two phones, starting the evening of the 28th, going in through the evening of the 29th of March, 2010. I've provided those to the defense in advance, hoping we don't encounter any last-minute issues with those. I've been told, to my knowledge, there's only one objection, and it is to a graphic representation of the data, a chart that we prepared. And I'm not sure if we'd like to address that now or address it in the morning, but to my knowledge, that is the only issue, the only objection that I expect tomorrow during Trooper Swan's testimony.
Okay. Does it make sense to address that now, or at least to begin that discussion? I assume that if it involves making some change to that chart, it's something
Yes.
that you would need some time
That would be helpful.
to
Your Honor.
achieve.
If I may hand up through the clerk, this was admitted. This was actually introduced as an exhibit at the third trial. And what this chart represents is on the date of March 29th, 2010, between the hours of 8 a.m. and 8 p.m., this is a graphic representation of the activity, the user-initiated activity on Anne-Marie's phone. And what I mean by that is this is when the phone or the person holding the phone is actively doing something with the phone, whether it be sending a text, making a call, taking a photo. And the significance of this is that it shows a timeline of her activity throughout the morning. This is in 15-minute increments. It shows when her activity was at some higher points than others. And it shows that the last action taken with that phone was at 12:21 p.m. That's when she placed an outgoing call. The phone placed an outgoing call. The evidence will show that was to Nancy Kaufman in Florida. And from 12:21 p.m. onward, there is, as shown in the chart, no activity. So this is a graphic, visual representation of data and testimony that we intend to elicit through Trooper Swan. We think it's important to help sort of corral and marshal the evidence, and also
So let me guess.
timeline of the day, what Anne-Marie was doing during certain
They're
hours,
gonna
not doing
have
certain
something
hours.
like this.
This is also evidence that the medical examiner, Joanne Richmond, has already referenced that she reviewed, and we expect to
Just
talk to Andrew.
not to let the jury
Took this information into
get them
account in
prejudiced
formulating whether or not
against
that
anything,
testing
but
was
just
accurate or whether
a visual
corroborated
representation.
estimates. So for those reasons, we don't see any prejudice to this. It's all firmly
You
rooted in
love
evidence.
your
It won't be
little
prejudicial
pen that you could write on the
anyway, so
screen.
we have to admit it.
It's
So
great.
just so I'm clear, you're seeking to admit this as an exhibit as opposed to using it merely as a chalk. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And
It
you're
should
telling me
look
that
more
there
like a zip
there
line.
are other records that
Yeah.
and evidence that were used to compile this?
Yes.
Okay.
Like
BGL.
she was really active, and she died.
Well, this isn't. This to me seems, not a complete picture. So this, they're saying, is a picture of Anne-Marie Rintala's texts and phone calls made from, they say 8 in the morning till 7:15. They don't have on this graph anyhow, there's no graph to my knowledge that in existence as to the incoming texts that were coming to her phone. And that's why I think it's somewhat misleading, Judge. And they get to do whatever they want. I understand that completely. I want to make sure. And then in terms of how this chart was generated, and what was used to generate the chart to make it way up at, I don't know what 8 means. I don't know what, what 1 means. I don't know if it means 8 calls, 8 texts. I just don't know, Judge. So to the extent that this was generated by this witness, I would suggest, Judge, that the information is a little incomplete, and I don't know that we need a visual picture of the phone calls. We're going to have the phone calls. We're going to have another chart that they have, Judge, which I also didn't have an objection to that.
He has the voice of Jamie's lashes.
So they have a list of partial phone calls, Judge, that they cross-reference with a bunch of photos of receipts that they find. So I'm just saying, Judge, with respect to this, I'm going to try to keep it to this. I can't tell them what to do. I'm just noting for the court that I don't know how this is going to get explained to the jury. I don't know. I certainly can cross-examine on what's not contained in the report. I get that completely. I'm just saying to put this on the screen as this is it. This is all that happened with that phone.
I got one yesterday, so
Okay.
hopefully
So,
I have two today.
You said there's another chart
That's what we
that you're
wanna see.
objecting to.
Oh, there's another chart, Judge, that I think I
All
sent-
you
I
folks
noticed
over
last night
online, if you
saying
haven't
that we would
subscribed
object
to the
I'm gonna look
Broken
at that today,
Bacon,
make sure that-
his link is right up there at the
let me
top
take a
of
look at it.
mine.
Oh, sorry, I didn't
It's
say let's see.
pinned at the top of
Let me
mine.
take a
All you
look
have
at
to
it
do
and make
is
sure
just
that-
go over
I think
there
that's the
and
one.
subscribe to the Broken Bacon.
The other chart is not coming in tomorrow. I don't think we can address it right now.
And
So the
I
only chart that
appreciate
Colin
each
will
and
see
every one of my
tomorrow
subscribers.
would be
Because
this.
that
It
means
does.
They have objection.
I
Personally,
do
Which
something
has an objection.
right. Yeah.
And what are you asking
And
me?
for only
to
800
simply
bucks, you can corner
exclude it?
kiss me.
Or is there? Here's my question. I don't know
That's-
because I
that's-
haven't heard
that's what the
evidence.
plain
I haven't
red
heard that
costs.
witness testify about what
That-
went into the
I
chart.
said I would do it for
Comment
800.
saying Whether
She needed 7K.
this is somehow
I'm just
misleading or
gonna do it
it's
for 800.
prejudicial because it leaves certain things
But you gotta
out
come to him.
that one would expect to see in a
Yeah,
chart like
yeah,
this.
yeah. Of course you have.
I just don't know. So I
Or
don't know
you
what
can
you're
pay the
asking me
ticket, and all
to
of you
do
can
if
line
you're-
up,
If you are
and we can make a
simply
kissing booth at
objecting to the
Valentine's Day.
introduction of this, that's one thing.
but that would be $8,000.
As opposed to you're
Cost you more than 800.
arguing that if this is going to come, it needs to sort of
Expert had an
more
idea that
balanced
we should
and
make
show
a
more
kissing
complete
booth at
picture, and
Valentine's
Colin
Day.
needs to add certain other
But
things.
only
Would be
corner
nice.
kisses.
Only corner kisses.
I'm just saying, and, you know, when
The
we're
rest,
talking about,
we'll talk about it.
cognitive bias, we're talking about inherent
But,
bias. When you see a photograph or
The
a chart
expert
like
is my
that,
pimp,
doesn't have
so
all of the
I have to
information
give
in
him
it.
10%
That's the
of
first
how
thing you
much.
see as a jury.
I don't know what to pay
You know,
him.
you start to form certain opinions. And again, that's my concern, Judge, is that if it's not complete, if it's not balanced, and they start forming opinions based on this one little snapshot of what the Commonwealth wants them to focus on, I can certainly cross-examine on what's not contained in there. But to have that photograph of this chart in evidence, I think is prejudicial, Judge, and I'm asking you to exclude it.
Okay, well, at this point, I don't know that I know enough about it because I haven't
We'll
heard
see it.
anything from this witness about how
Well,
how
view it,
created or whatever.
Your
Yes.
Honor.
So it's
Then
premature.
you can
on
you
the
do a
objection,
voir dire on
but I'm
this chart
happy,
alone and say how did it come to be? What
get
does
a
8 mean? What does
heads
1
up, so
mean?
I'm prepared to
Don't you?
sort of evaluate the testimony, understanding that objection is coming. So is this a copy for me, or do you need this back?
You can keep that.
Okay, thank you. So well, I guess we'll address that when the time comes tomorrow.
And then the only other thing, Judge, is just to line up for tomorrow so we can be ready. Again, we're trying to coordinate our witnesses, and I know the Commonwealth still doesn't know when they're going to rest, but trying
Sure.
to make estimates here so I can rebook flights.
It's hard to tell.
It is. I'm not suggesting anyone's doing anything wrong.
Sure.
Your Honor, at this point, we will obviously continue with Trooper Swan, and then we expect to call Detective Lieutenant Robin Whitney with 3+ hours of video. I don't think we'll get farther than that tomorrow.
Oh,
3 hours of video.
3 hours of video.
And is this like the
That's
interrogation
sufficient for the lineup
videos
that you would
or the
represent. I suppose it might be a good idea.
videos of her riding around
given
town?
how things have gone so far, to have a few people waiting in the wings if necessary, but I'll leave that to you.
I'm
anything
just
else
gonna do like
before
the
we
expert, just turn it on and leave the screen and go sleep or whatever
Right.
he did.
See you tomorrow at 9.
3 hours of
I want to see
witness.
these videos of her riding around town.
Jeez. Jeez. So insane.
Because they apparently got a lot of incriminating videos of her driving around.
Yeah. And that's going to be super interesting. That's why everyone should come back again tomorrow this is going to start at 9:30. So we'll be going on at 9:15 just to keep everyone up to date. Maybe Shizzy will join us again tomorrow. We'll see.
If I'm able to.
If you're able to, I'm going to send you a link and then you can figure out what you're going to do.
Thank you.
Everyone, thank you so much for showing up today. And thank you especially to Swissy.
Squishy. That's fine. I'm used to it.
Grift yourself.
Oh, well, let's see. Tonight I will be doing the Cashiera, the little yoga studio in my Disturb series. We'll dig a little bit into how much of a religion they actually are, or are they spiritual healing, and some dirt on them, some evil dirt. That'll be tonight, and tomorrow I will be covering a little more of the Federalist Papers. Wednesday, I was given an invite to be on with Winning Reality, and at some point this week, I will have a 3D print going up, and you'll see what it is whenever it's finished. But it'll be going up and probably go through most of the weekend if possible. So that's what I've got going on. I'm easy to find, Shizzy Wiznut. There's only one of me. There's tons of you, and I appreciate every one of you. Thank you.
Yeah, and Irish, I'm gonna put a few extra H's into Shizzy. I'm gonna find a way to mispronounce his name every time, just like I did with you.
Nothing
Jamie,
wrong with it.
do you have anything to grift other than the lovely lashes?
Those lashes are so lovely.
If you enjoy what we do, you're welcome to donate. But I just like being here and having fun with you guys and talking about these crazy cases.
And the donations you can do over at her Lash Fund.
Got quiet. Did I lose something here?
Yeah, it's because the video played. We got quiet. Now you're muted. Are you muted? I don't know. But everyone, yeah, I'm the Broken Baker. For those of you who haven't met me before, I do crazy stuff doing court streams because I get bored. Kind of like explaining how Aaron Rodgers' career was ended. We blame Jamie. She doesn't like him. I'll be jumping on again tomorrow at 9:15ish, and hope I see a lot of you there. And for each and every one of you who has been here tonight on my channel, on Shizzy's channel, thank you ever so much for showing up, giving us a like and a subscribe. And if you like more cases, you can go and follow over at Salbert. He's doing a dual stream with EU about I think they're doing the Mark Jensen case, the guy who had a big interest in male appendages. And just for the fun of it, because I can't directly send you over, please write a Shizzy Baker Jamie raid. Just for the fun of it. Hope to see you all tomorrow, and love you all, but as you know, I love Jamie more. See you tomorrow.